Okay, I think we're on now. Everybody see me okay? I got my stuff all turned upside down here. What's going on, guys? It is Friday. And today we're talking about deal or no deal. And we can make this into a game show, or we can actually work on deals you guys are working on. So I'm going to go in a very, very short Q&A here and just a little bit teachable moment. And then we are going to save the rest for everybody who wants to do a deep dive on deal or no deal. We can comp deals. We can go over deals you're working on. You want to talk to customers? Dude, I am wide open. Let's go for it. Let's do this. We had a lot of fun last night. So it's just me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Rick Ginn, a.k.a. Dad. And every Friday night, I host these lives. We also do Thursday nights with my son, Zach. You guys know him. He's the much younger and better looking version of me. And then I do live Friday nights, and then Zach does Sunday. A little note on Sunday, I'm going to be on Zach's channel, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Although I might need a pillow because it's so late, but that's 10 o'clock Eastern time, and I'll be back again on Monday. So guys, use the comments. Let us know where you're from, what markets you guys are working in. And this is a great bunch of people that you can work with. You guys kind of know the rules here. I simply have 2 requirements for you. Okay. Are you ready for this? I need you to hit that subscribe button so you know when me and Zach go live, so you guys can get the best deal. And for God's sakes, just somebody smash that like button. I love that somebody beat me to it. And today we are talking about deal or no deal. So every time you guys ask me, hey, Rick, can you help me comp a property? Can you help me do this? I'm going to do it today. So the only person you got blame if you didn't get help on a deal today is you. Just pick up. Yeah, you don't even pick up the phone. Just click the link. Go over to Wholesaling Houses for Real. There's a link in there. You can join our Facebook group, 64,000 people plus, the most active Facebook investor group out there, hands down. Prove me otherwise. When I say actives, like it's just not a bunch of spamming and terrible stuff on that. So guys, join on there. I already got like 4 or 5 people on there. That's awesome. And we are going to do that. So let's get into this, man. Let's do it. So I always think, first of all, you guys are rolling into a 3-day holiday weekend, but you learn as a wholesaler, holiday weekends really don't do much for you because we like to treat every day as a holiday. I think we declared today wholesaling day, where everybody just gets the day off and just goes out and does a bunch of deals. But guys, listen, wholesaling is fun. It is a choice. It is a choice to get you financially free, to get your time free, to really get everything you deserve out of life. There's no way you're watching this show accepting, I'm going to go work a 9-to-5 job. I'm just going to go to college. Guys, you are better than a job. You create jobs. You don't work in jobs. You create jobs. That's why you got part of wholesaling. If you're like me, please, you got to have fun while you do this. If you're not having fun, guys, let's get it up. Let's get it going. You know what I mean? It is wholesaling time.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, and they got go. Time to wake up, bitch, get up. Get up. Get up.
Okay, that's it. So that pretty much sums up how I feel about wholesaling. Listen, the fact that I've done this for 20 years and I've made it a family affair in my family should tell you everything you need to know about wholesaling. It is, honestly, it changed my life for the better. And if you are just discovering this first time, you've never done your deal, you are in the right spot. Me and my son, Zach, created the only free wholesaling course on the market today. You can go over to freewholesaling.com, and I promise you, you will not be upgraded. You will not have some annoying salesperson call you and say, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. The bottom line is, it is straight out free content. We want to get you to make your first $100,000. I don't think wholesaling should be complicated. It is definitely not a $10,000 course. Guys, vote with your time and your money. Okay. Me and Zach are going to give you the journey. You just have to take the actions. You have to go along for the journey. And the fact that you don't have to pay a $5,000 or $10,000 course fee, you should be running out like gang fires to do it. Just like I showed you in that beginning video. You've got to be super excited. You got to be pumped for this, because if you're not, it ain't going to work. I cannot make you wholesale. You have got to want it. You got to want it as bad as you want to breathe. Doesn't Eric Thomas say that? I love Eric Thomas. When you want wholesaling as bad as you want to breathe, I know you're dead serious about that. So we will go on and let's do that. I see a comment on there, and I can't wait to talk about this. But let's do this. I'm going to go do about 10 minutes of teaching. That's it. And then I'm going to do the live. So I have plenty of room for people on lives. Hop on. There's still plenty of openings. I guarantee if you get in line on the live right now, you will definitely 100% talk to me, and we'll talk deal or no deal. So let me pull up my notes here. And guys, there's nothing better to me than working on a deal, especially with someone who's just starting or they're just trying to work on a deal. That's how you learn. See, so many people are trying to teach wholesaling from a theoretical standpoint. So many motivational speakers trying to speak at it. Listen, you can use motivating to get started in wholesaling, but you're going to need an operator, someone like me or Zach, to really get you going and show you how to navigate through this business. Because in the end, this is what we do. Our 7-figure operation is wholesaling. Me and Zach connecting with you guys on the internet like this is an amazing, amazing thing. And the really cool part is when you talk to us in Mastermind is I don't hold anything back, because I don't have some sort of course you got to get behind to get all my secrets. I just give them to you. And my theory is, and I'm going to prove it right, the more people I can help out, the more money everybody will make, including myself. So the fact that I don't have a course is, number one, I don't need it. Number two, I don't trade my time for money. I give you basic skill sets. I give you direction. I give you motivation. And then I lead by example. Been doing this 20 years. And that's all you have to do. Stop listening to what everybody tells you and start doing what people are actually doing. And that's the key to becoming successful in any type of real estate. So let's jump into it first. So, you know where I'm going to go with this one first. Okay. When we're talking about deals, deal or no deal, the first thing I'm always going to ask you is there motivation? Why? Because if there's no type of motivation, there is absolutely no deal on the table. And you have to understand that. Okay. So when we talk today, I'm going to ask you what the motivation is. You should have a clear, definitive way to go. And if you don't, that should give you hints on where your deal is going. So many of the issues in wholesaling can be solved just by finding out people's motivation. Motivation is the number one factor if someone's going to give you a good deal or not. And here's a little secret. Price alone is not motivation. It's just not. Okay. If price was the sole motivation, the property has to go to MLS, because we cannot solve the highest price. Okay. We want to know what they need to get for the property, but it can't solely be the qualifying factor for somebody selling their house. Because what do I teach you guys? We're going to pay the lowest amount we can for that house. So if that's the only thing we got our hat to hang on, we're in big trouble. So keep in mind, you always have to seek motivation first before you seek anything else out when you're dealing with a seller. And that's going to be the first thing that tells you if it's a deal or a no deal. I promise you, when I talk to everyone today, it's the first thing I'm going to attack, because I don't want you guys wasting time. We are not paid by the hour. We are paid by the deal. We are paid by using our brain power up here. Okay. The next biggest issue I see when we talk about doing a deal or no deal, you ready for this? It's comp. Okay. Comps are a range. It's never a dead set number. It does not work that way. Okay. Typically, I like to take the comps. Usually it's like to do it within a 1 mile radius. Sometimes you have to tighten it up. Sometimes you have to expand it depending on what size area you're in. And then basically from there, once we have the comps, I like to take the high one, throw it out. I like to take the low one and throw it out. And then I have a range. So maybe my range is 125 to 135. Okay. Comps are always a range unless you have 5 of the exact same houses, same square footage on the same block. Most likely it's going to be a range. And remember, the range on the houses depends on the condition of the house, the upgrades in the house, and the seller's attitude about the house. So that you have to understand. And you see what I have in parentheses here? 5 to 10 minutes. That's all you should spend on pulling a comp. If you spend any more time on pulling a comp, I'm talking about it. You can use PropStream, you can use Batch. We recommend both because we use them both in our business because we want the best of the best. Some of you like PropStream, it's simple. Batch has a few more bells and whistles. Listen, find the one that works for you. They're very effective. We are the only people on YouTube that I know of that offer both. Why? Because why would I pin one product against the other? They're both great. So the more we push them, the better you guys get, the better the products get, and everybody wins. And nobody feels like they're like, oh, I have to do this one. I have to do that one. So when we see good stuff, we throw it out there. If I'm purely going to recommend something based on my allegiance to a company, that means I'm allegiant to the company, not to my viewers. And for that reason is why I always offer you guys options. So anybody offering Batch should be offering PropStream and vice versa. And if they don't, I don't understand it. Like they're companies. We don't own them. I already told you, I don't want to own and run a software company. It's very hard and laborious. And I leave it to people that are in computing, in software, into coding. And that's never going to be an investor. Trust me, my strong space is dealing with sellers, dealing with motivated sellers, and helping you guys out. So for that reason, I find the best of the best. The 2 best companies out there doing it. That's why me and Zach offer them. And we've been using it for years and we've had great results. So pick what you want. The fact that we're neutral should help you in making choices on who you want to take advice. But guys, with these tools and software, 5-10 minutes max. And honestly, it's not a requirement. I don't need to sell you anything. I'm just letting you know the tools are there for you to help out. And honestly, if you're spending more than 5 to 10 minutes on comps, you're spending way too much time on comps. Okay. So cut it down. Boy, this is like really basic stuff. This one's like really important because we just kicked us to the curb. You guys somebody's got to verify the property condition. Okay. So many times we get a number, we get what we think the ARV is, we got an idea, we're flirting around with an offer. And then we always say, if we're virtual, hey, if everything checks out with the house, that price is good to go. And then you get somebody over there and find out the house is completely trashed. So many times we play around with the numbers until somebody goes out and physically puts their eyes on that property. You're never quite sure if you have a deal. Now, you can put it on deal to save your deal, but at some point you will have to take that extra step and do some sort of verification. Walking through one house can change your deal from 30 to 80 grand with its eyes shut on an average property. So I never get super excited until somebody actually puts their eyes on the property. A lot of you guys are skipping this part and just when you sell virtually. And if you have buyers that do not want to take action or they freak out with you and you've brought 3 or 4 through there, I promise you you probably paid too much for the property and you didn't verify the damage on it. And that's why your deal's not working. So if you can take this extra step of having somebody go out and look at the property, you can say, hey, Rick, how do I do that? If you're doing it virtually, hire someone, use Craigslist, use Facebook Marketplace, have someone take pictures. The idea is you just want them to go in and take pictures and not upset the seller. And when you get the pictures back, once they upload it to them, you can basically Venmo them or Zelle them like $50 or $75, and you'll know exactly where you stand with the property and ask their opinion. Did the property smell? I would have a basic questionnaire for them, and that's it. So guys, as basic as these 3 elements sound, these are always going to be the biggest problem I find when I'm trying to help you guys on like deal or no deal. I'm sorry. I'm trying to. Hold on, guys. I'm moving here. See, I'm always working on real estate and doing stuff. So verify the property condition. Do comps are in a range. There's a bookend. There's a high, and there's a low, and the comp should never take you more than 5 or 10 minutes. And for God's sakes, make sure that you seek out the motivation first before you do these other two things. Once I have those, then we're always good to go. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. So that's it, guys. So I want to talk all about like your deals and no deals. So if you could understand these first three requirements, number one, make sure you seek motivation. Number two, make sure you do the comps, make sure they're arranged and you don't spend more than 5 or 10 minutes. And number three, make sure you got some sort of plan to verify the property condition. I know we can't do it on every one of them, but man, it will take a lot of the guesswork as far as everything you do with that. So let me get rid of this. Okay, I see everybody on there and I'm gonna, why can't this work right now? Call. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so let me take this off the screen here. And that is it. So I want to get to a question. I saw one up here and I thought, I don't see this one often, but I know a lot about it. So Dominique says, hey, what are your thoughts on surplus funds for a recovery business? So if you guys have never seen this one has been around. This one has been around actually since 2016, 17. And I actually researched into it. Here's the problem with it. You're being sold a super sexy technique that sounds like it's dirt easy and you're the only one that has this technique. So when a house goes to foreclosure and say they're foreclosing on the house for $100,000 and say the house gets bid up to $110,000. If the $100,000 satisfies all the liens, the mortgages, the judgments, who gets the balance of the 10 grand? How it's supposed to work, after all court costs and all lien holders are paid off, any positive proceeds are supposed to go to the seller as a net gain. Now, this money sits in a courthouse, sits under the seller's name, and the court usually sends out one letter, maybe one email, and that's it. So if the money sits in the court system, I believe every state has a different time frame on this. So don't quote me on it. Like 2 to 3 years, the money actually gets publicized one more time in like a local newspaper, online. And then if nobody claims it, the money reverts back to the state. Okay. So you can see why the state doesn't want to like overly help you. So someone in their bright idea goes, I'm going to get that information on surplus and I'm going to reach out and contact these people and let them know they're due some money. I'm just telling you, man, people know when they're due money on these things. It's just, I saw an ad the other day. It popped up. It says you can sit on the beach sipping a margarita and make $30,000 a month doing surplus funds. By the way, I've never met one person that's made a living off doing this. It's a cute idea, but remember, you now have to contact the seller that doesn't know much about it. And you got to tell them, I know where there's some money, but I'm not going to tell you until you sign this paperwork. It gets really sticky. And for that reason, I hate it. I think it's ridiculous. And a lot of times you can have problems because now are you representing as a lawyer? Like, what are you doing? And it's just very, very exhausting. And remember, over 3,500 counties, it is challenging. So that's my opinion on that, Dominic. I wouldn't touch it. They're trying to match it up like it's wholesaling. It's not. It's not even close. So honestly, I think it's even harder. So Jose says, hey, Rick, what do you think of running paid ads to generate seller leads? Honestly, I got no problem with it. I don't think it's a beginner phase. The big boys, if you're going to do paid for ads, which we call pay-per-click, PPC, most people are going to do them on like Google because that's where you get the most traction. Remember, Google, someone goes in, how do I sell my house fast in Port St. Lucie? How do I sell my house fast in Daytona Beach? How do I sell my house in Miami? How do I sell it in Tampa? How do I sell it in Milwaukee? And that's how people, and based on that is advertisers bid on the words, like people like you and me. A lot of these keywords, sell your house fast in like a certain city, can cost you $70 to $100 per click. Okay. So this is not a light boy's budget, and you have to have like ridiculous speed. Google ads work, but the problem is you usually have to have a lot of money and experience to really make them home in, and they work in one town, they won't work in another. Facebook ads, I've already told you, I don't like them. Facebook constantly changes their algorithm. They won't let you target people based on demographics with age or anything like that. And that's why I really don't want to deal with that. So Facebook ads, everybody brags about how cheap the leads are. Guys, leads mean nothing to me. What's your cost per contract? Cost per lead per contract? That's what I want to know. Remember, you go on Facebook, you're not looking to sell your house. You just go there to usually socialize. And so it's an afterthought. So people don't think about it. So the challenge is you have to, in Facebook, it can take you anywhere from 12 to 18 months to foster that lead. And a lot of you guys won't wait 12 or 18 days. I'm not sure how we're going to do 12 or 18 months. So I don't like Facebook ads. I've done them. I've had different experience with them. They do work in some markets. I'm not saying they're going to work, but you have to have like ridiculous amounts of speed on it. And you have to spend a lot of time nurturing the leads. And remember, a lot of people on Facebook are looking to sell their properties for retail. So that's one of the bigger challenges with it. So I would stay away from it in the beginning. And that's the best way to do it. So, okay. So guys, I'm going to bring you guys on live, and I thought I'd do something kind of fun here. One of my favorite things is to watch as you guys get caught on camera coming on. So I thought I'd do something a little bit funny. Where'd I put it? Okay. So everybody waiting in live, I want you to have the enthusiasm, the excitement like this kid does. This is an old video, but you guys will relate to it. But so many of you guys are so funny. Like when I bring you on as live, it's funny, funny, funny. So let me know if anybody relates to this video. I'm going to put it up here. You ready? Okay. Oh my. So you ever like, I love when you guys got get on the camera and they're like, oh my God, I never saw it coming. And then you do it. I love that little kid. So he's from a Marlins game. It's just so funny. So I love when you guys get surprised and stuff. So I'm thinking about incorporating that video. When I catch you guys, I'm going to pop it on because I think it's hysterical. To me, comedy is everything. Like if you can't laugh at yourself, like what else can you laugh at it? But Ravon, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you like the little Marlins kid? Am I going to see you get like super excited all of a sudden, or?
Yeah, I am. Thank you.
I love that kid. They did a special on him where he was now because I think it was like 11 years ago. It's just kind of funny.
It is funny. I did see that video before, and when I saw it the first time, I was like, it was really funny.
Every time I look at him, I'm just like, you just can't stop looking at him. Like, oh my God, I got to get this kid, man. This kid's hysterical. So I had a couple of people the other day. I brought him on, like, oh my God, I'm on. I'm like, yeah, you remind me of that Miami Marlins kid. So I thought I'd play it for you guys. So it was funny. So what's going on, man? What can I help you out with? I mean, you got a deal? What do you want to talk about?
So what happened is I found this guy on Zillow, right, for home owner rent or whatever it's called, FSBO, right?
Okay.
I found him on Zillow, and you could tell he's highly motivated. All right, like he had this property for I think 2-3 years. Like it needs like major construction or renovation, and so the problem is we agreed on a price and all, and I sent him the contract yesterday, and he's like, "Okay, good. I'm gonna take the house off the market." I
Okay.
contacted him, and he ghosted me for like yesterday and today. I called him, I texted him today again, and I don't know what's happening.
So I assume he didn't sign the contract.
No, like I sent him yesterday. He said that okay. I told him yesterday I'm gonna send him the contract. I did it yesterday, and he hasn't responded back.
Okay. So welcome to wholesaling. This is quite common, and you just you're going to have to learn from it. So people only ghost you for particular reasons. Okay.
All right.
9 times out of 10, they're ghosting you because they're scared. They're nervous. It's very final. What was his motivating factor? Let's start there.
He's okay. So like he says that he had the property for too long, and he just wanted to sell the property really fast because he's tired of holding that property for such a
Okay.
long time. And
Okay.
so like we agreed on like the price was $170,000, and I got it down to 130.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, sure. We did 130, and then he's like, oh, he texted me, thank you so much for helping me and all this. I'm like, yeah, no problem. And then I texted him, hey, I'm gonna send you the contract today, and I'm gonna call you to go over the contract. So if you have any questions, blah blah blah. And
Okay.
then next, he, you know,
Okay. So are you doing this virtual or is it local?
virtual. Yeah.
Okay.
This is going to be my first deal if he responds, but
Okay. So somewhere you left room. So he was super excited to sign the contract. How are you getting it signed from him?
I'll do an document or e-sign. So like
Okay.
I'll take the pic, scan the document, put my e-signature on it, and then send it to him.
So did you do that?
I did that. Yeah, I emailed him. I even texted him through Google Voice that, hey, I sent it to you, and then he
Okay.
hasn't responded
So
yet.
how long has it been?
I sent him yesterday, so it already been like.
Okay. So you're gonna have to go to the classic designs of. So let's talk about how we can fix this, and then we'll talk about how we can prevent it. Okay.
Okay,
So
yeah.
you got to find a way just to get in touch with the guy. And you're going to have to be ruthless about this. So
Should I call him again?
you got nothing to lose at this point, buddy. I
All
would
right.
call him from a different phone number and just play stupid. He's
Okay.
on your phone number. That's why he's avoiding it.
No,
He's
because I
avoiding
use
it.
Google Voice. I never gave him my real phone number. I use Google Voice. So should
Okay,
I?
but he identifies you with one particular phone number.
Okay.
Okay. So if he's not answering that phone, then just switch phones, use another family member's phone, like whatever. I don't care. Here's the reality is in wholesaling, when you have someone that's hot in agreement on a deal,
Yeah.
you got it's 48 hours. So you're what, 24 into it?
Mm-hmm.
After
24.
48 hours,
24.
after 48 hours, you're dead. Just statistically, you're going to have a tough time. So you got to do whatever you have to between now and the next 24 hours to get in touch with the guy. I don't care what it is. You just got to get it.
Because I remember talking that you want the seller to come to you, not the other way around.
You do,
so,
but here's
yeah.
the problem is you've already gotten to the deal.
Yeah.
I assume you've run your comps, and I'm making some assumptions here. If that's the right
Yeah.
price, you got to get them just to signing, and you have to close that gap because if you say nothing, you won't hear from them for weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is common, and I'll give you
I thought-
preventative measures. So you guys just try to fix it. So try to find the person on social media, DM, text. If you have to pay someone to drive by there, talk to them. It's a little bit more challenge when you're virtual, but
Okay.
this is the opposite. You can't give this guy room. You've got to find a way to connect with him.
And if I do call him with a different number and he doesn't pick up, then what?
Dude, just hit him square in the eyes. Like, I mean, if you don't get him, you don't get him. There's nothing you can do.
Okay.
Have you already left him a message?
Yeah, I already left him. Today I left him. Hey, if you have any your family members part of this contract, let me know so we could do this all together.
Yeah.
He hasn't responded back.
So do you have a title company you work with?
Yeah. I just got one yesterday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yesterday.
So use your title company as well too. Just say, listen, can you do me a favor and call this guy and ask them just tell them they're waiting on the contract to see if he signed it. And sometimes sometimes he'll tell the third party what his real problem is.
Okay.
Because when you do that, guys, you can use this technique. They assumed you've spent money at this point and they feel bad.
Okay.
So Listen,
yeah,
whatever you got to do, but like whenever you have a verbal contract setting, especially virtual or physical,
yeah.
you've got to close the gap in 48 hours or you're a dead man walking. So if you don't contact him, you're not going to get a deal anyway. So if you contact him and you piss him off, you're going to lose a deal that you never really had anyway. So you have nothing to lose at this point. So I'm just telling you, he's either talked to someone, had a change of heart, or he's scared to death and he doesn't know how to ask you and talk to you. And then if you get him on the phone, Rivon, just say, listen, John, like, did I do something that upset you? Blame yourself. Did I say something stupid? Okay. You know, and just go, do I smell like I say crazy stuff to people? Now, obviously, I wouldn't do a smell because you're not there. But you got to contact with them. Now, if you're in a local market, dude, I'm getting in my car and if I got to wait 4 hours in front of the house, I do it. I've done some crazy stuff. So you worked hard to get to this point. You got everything right. This is common when they do this. But guys, when you have a verbal, especially when you're working on a deal, you got 48 hours. It's like CSI.
48.
After that, it just goes cold because as time goes by, just an hour turns into a day turns into a week, and then they're just gone.
So I could ask my title company to call the guy. Like
every trick you got in the book, man.
Okay.
Hey, I'm with Sunshine Title.
Okay.
Rivon told us about the contract. We helped get the whole contract ready. Did you sign that? Can you send it over?
No, he hasn't signed it yet, so that's why. Like, I sent him the contract.
I know. That's what you say. Just say like she's waiting for it. Like sometimes you do it from a third party, especially from a lady versus a guy.
Yeah,
it can jolt people. Like, oh my god, dude, this guy spent money with a title company. But he might tell him, listen. Either way, either he's going to send the contract or he's going to say, I don't want to do this right now.
Okay.
The worst is when he doesn't respond because you have no idea which way this is going. Now, somebody might have sabotaged your deal, and you need to be prepared with that one too.
Sabotage, because he just said like, "Hey, I believe and I trust you. What you say, and I'll take the house off the market." So I'm like, "Oh, okay, this must be like a guaranteed deal." And
so then did he take it off the market? Did you see?
He didn't take it off the market. When I searched his address up on Zillow, it says it's still It still shows that they're trying to sell the house.
So after the 48 hours, maybe even like Saturday, I play stupid and renegotiate with him. Just go back. Okay. If the house is on the market and he's answering his phone, just kind of go back. I go, hey, wait a minute. I go, didn't I talk to you, John, last week? Actually, I think I sent you a contract. We don't have to do this all over. Let's just do the deal. And then, listen, he's got something going on. You just got to find out what it is.
Yeah, plus I know he said that he doesn't live in Wayne, because I got in Wayne County, right? So he lives in Wayne County, his property is. But he lives somewhere outside of the country. I think he lives in the Middle East or something.
Yeah. So listen, so he could have other stuff going on.
Maybe, yeah.
So just make it super simple. And I will tell you this, guys, when you get somebody on the phone, especially sellers that have a history of ghosting you.
Yeah.
By the way, when they ghost you once, they'll do it 2 or 3 more times. And they'll do it towards the closing. Say, dude, stay right there. Are you on your computer? Yes. Are you in your email? Yes. Okay, I'm sending it right now. Tell me when you got it. Okay, click the sign button. Let me know when you do it, and I'll get confirmation. I got to get this out of the way.
Yeah.
And then once I get this out of the way, they can do all the paperwork with the title company, and I'll call you when it's ready to close, and we'll get this thing done so I can get you your money. That's it.
Oh, okay.
But like sometimes you got them on the phone, you got to walk them through it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's why I wanted to call him and walk over the contract with them.
And then, so especially if you have somebody that's not in the same country.
Yeah.
A lot of times when I get older people and they're outside the state that where I'm buying the property, and say like the property's in Florida and they're in Utah, a lot of them, like you've got to know your audience.
Okay.
Some people are just, you ever met someone that's so technology challenged, they struggle just to turn the computer on?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's people out there like that, and they get a lot of anxiety, and they're like, dude, you can go old school. You go over to the post office, about $25, and you stick everything in hard copy with like yellow markers and just get it signed. I still to this day still do a lot of hard copies because older people like that.
Okay. Yeah.
They can't deal with the electronic. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, listen, I'm going to send you both. Whichever one you're more comfortable with and you can get done quickly, let me know. And the neat thing with the tracking is you can tell the day they drop it back in the mail to you. So you send them everything. And here's a little tip. If they can't open an email and like get DocuSign, don't try to send them the documents to like print it on their own because they'll struggle just as bad with the printer. So stick
Okay.
everything in that. It's $25 to
Okay.
overnight it anywhere in the United States. And honestly, it's a pretty good damn insurance policy.
Okay. And I had another quick question. So like I was going over your contract video that you had I think a year ago, and I didn't understand like the difference between the closing date and the inspection period. Like does the inspection period takes after the closing date? Because
Okay.
sometimes I'm confused about that, yeah.
So an inspection's always should most likely is going to be before the closing date. So
Oh,
an inspection period is just basically your time to kick the tires and see if you want to dance with this deal.
oh, okay. So if
Okay.
the closing date's October 1st, that means the inspection period has to be before October 1st. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean it's I mean you really can't have it past it. So everything's negotiable.
Okay.
So here's a rule of thumb. If you're not getting the best price you can on the house, meaning you know it needs to go down further, or like you know the roof's bad, but they keep saying it's good, or the AC's bad and they keep saying it's good, you can put it under contract. But listen, I'm gonna have to come back and take a serious look at the AC and that roof. I
Mhm.
don't think it's good unless so maybe I'll get an expert in here to show me the difference. Why I'm doing that is because between the roof and the AC, that could be a $20,000 to $25,000 discount.
Okay.
And if it needs replacing, your buyers are going to know it, and you don't want to. So many wholesalers think they have a deal when you got a bad roof and a bad AC. You don't even have a deal anymore. Like you could get
Yeah.
killed. So if I have to do that, I'll give the seller the higher price. I know there's a 90% chance the roof and the AC is bad because it's 95 degrees and I'm in the house
Yeah.
and the roof's leaking water through it and she's telling me it's just fine. I'll put it under contract and go, listen, I need a 2-week inspection period. I know I'm going to get a better price on that house, but I might as well put it under contract, play the game a little bit and get a better deal. The other way is they just give you a really good price up front.
Mhm.
I don't really care about the inspection period if I know it's really good.
Okay.
Like
Yeah. Okay. I see.
I buy some properties 30, 40 cents on the dollar. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, I
Mhm.
don't give a flying anything about the inspection period. So the inspection there is to give you safety.
Okay.
So you can do your due diligence on the property.
Okay.
The only ones we try to stay with. Now, I'm not inspecting a house like a homeowner.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at the drywall and stuff like that. I'm looking at the roof, structural. I go over to the electrical panel. I look at the air handler. I look at the compressor, and you can look for the major items. And that's
Okay.
what we do. The only thing that freaks us out here, mostly in Florida, are
Mhm.
cracked foundations. They're a problem. They're a nightmare. It's like a sinking house, and you can't throw enough money at it to make it right. And for those ones, I'm getting out every time. I don't even care if I'm past an inspection period because the sellers always know it. So your inspection period should be somewhat negotiable. Okay. Real
Okay.
estate prices are not going up. If anything, they're going flat or sideways. So the good news is, I don't think this guy is getting a better offer than you're giving him. I
Mhm.
don't think you're really at risk of that. Number two, the market's shifting drastically, and it's not in the positive for the seller. It's going down. So you want to incentivize them by like doing a deal as fast as much as you can. And listen, when you get a deal and you can't quite figure it out and you're
Okay.
uncomfortable, make the inspection period as long as you can humanly get away with.
Yeah, I'm gonna do like 40 days because since
Yeah,
I'm like
because
new to this.
someone I look at it, I'm like, I need 90 days. They're like, what are you crazy? I go, dude, look at the house.
Yeah, because his house, like
Yeah.
the interior is like all messed up. Like it needs like full on renovation. But that's why I might do 40 or
Yeah.
more.
So it just, and if I have a really good, the guys give me a good price, but the least I tell everyone to do an inspection, you can do 7 days, but it's brutally tight, dude. It's like
Yeah.
you got to be pretty seasoned. So 14 days is usually the minimum you want to do because if you can't find a buyer in 14 days, you probably don't have a good deal.
Okay.
And I've done stuff as long as 6 and 9 months. Like sometimes properties are just so messed up. The longer you make the inspection period, the more options you have. I'm not looking to screw people, but
Yeah.
I don't even know if that house is structurally sound and it's hard. And it's going to take me a little time to verify some of the stuff. Some people, they just don't care. You know why? Because the property's already set 6 months to a year. What's another month or two to them?
Okay. Okay.
And when people won't negotiate on that, I'm just like, okay, well, have a nice day. Like, then you
Yeah.
get to go through the whole gamut because when you remember, the higher you go up on the price on a property, the more crap you got to go through. And so when people know they got a crappy property, they've already tried to unload it, they can't do it. And like you come around, you know, like you can just remind them like, we don't want to play this game anymore. So the guy's playing a game with you.
Yeah.
So I try everything to try to get a hold in the next 24 hours. And then you're going to have to keep him like focused and on point.
And part of the rule is even after he signs the contract, right, and he decides that he wants a better price, isn't part of the rule that that property is mine now since he signed the contract? I'm not sure if I'm getting this right.
So your contract is just a contract. So you can enter contract law is essential to the United States. Okay. And so basically our wonderful federal government recognizes that every state has the right to enter into a contractual agreement without interference from the United States government. Okay. It is a fundamental right of our Constitution. Okay. So a contract just gives you the right. You don't have any ownership until you physically close on the property. You basically own that contract at that point, and that is what you're selling. You have no ownership rights or anything, but you are obligated under a contract, especially once you get past the inspection period. So normal real estate, they do inspection periods anywhere from 3 days to 30 days, sometimes 90 on like commercial properties. But there's no obligation until you buy the property. Now, if you don't buy the property, then they have that contract and they can use it as a weapon against you. Okay. So take the example of like Elon Musk. Okay. He owns Tesla and he entered a contract to buy Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So part of the contingencies on it is they had to meet certain thresholds for inspection. So they had to verify the amount of bots, all this other crap. So both parties are disputing, listen, Elon overpaid for it, but he's trying to get out on a technicality and they're going to go to court. Now, he's not responsible for Twitter, but Twitter's going to sue him for damages. But the problem is he's in a contract where if he backed out, he loses $1 billion. He don't even want to lose his $1 billion anymore. It's kind of weird. So you're never forced, like when you're in a contract with someone, you're never forced to buy it. But the purpose of the contract is to use leverage for people's intent. So if you write a contract and never do anything, you don't follow up, you don't get out of it, that seller has a right to take that contract to an attorney. An attorney files a motion, and then they're going to sue you on breach of contract. And then they have to go through depositions. They have to show all the paperwork. And then they're going to dig in to see if you had the intentions. And if they felt like you wrote a reckless contract and never had the ability to close or do anything with it, the judge is going to award the seller damages. And that's why you just don't want to enter in contracts haphazardly, because the purpose of contract is to keep people honest. If you don't close, the other person can take that contract and sue you, and they're most likely going to win, unless you can share information that you're missing on it. So you don't have any rights till the day you fund it and they sign the deed over you. But you have contractual rights. And remember, as a wholesaler, we're selling those contractual rights. That's what the real value is. So when you write a contract, you kind of own that contract, and you got to make a decision if you're going to honor it, sell it, or get out of it. And that's the point of having an inspection period. Guys, the longer the inspection period you get, the more options it gets you. But keep in mind, good deals usually don't have giant inspection periods. So it's like a catch-22. So if you can get a huge inspection period and a huge discount, then you're really good at wholesaling. But it does happen, but you always want to ask for it. So anything else?
No, that's it. You helped me so much. I'm gonna start.
Okay, go find that seller. You got 24 hours. You got it?
All right. Thank you so much, Rick.
Okay, man. I'll see you, bud.
See you.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. Guys, it is like CSI. When you have a seller, you got 24, 48 hours, 48 hours max. You got to go and you got to get them. So, Chadrick, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. How you doing?
Good, and yourself?
Are you going to be like the excited Marlins kid? You ever watch that kid? I can't stop staring at that video, man. Like I just over and over. I'm almost like, and sometimes I get people on there. They got like their live picture on. They just jump out of the chair like that. I go, man, if somebody jumps up, starts doing that, I'm gonna like bust out of my seat. So funny. What's going on, man? What can I help you out with?
So I tried to get the code violation for Richmond. Apparently, they don't give out code violation. So I'm trying to get the body approach for reverse drive for dollars. How do I do it?
I'm sorry, you cut out on that last part. Say it again.
How do I get a body approach for the reverse driving for dollars?
Okay. So you have to pick out which list you want to use that for. So the ones we recommend is any type of foreclosure or pre-foreclosure list. It works really well because they're
All
usually
right.
living in that house, and those are the ones. Just by sticking a sticker on the door, the ones that are interested will call you back, and you don't waste your time with the people that really have no interest in selling their foreclosure houses. But those are the ones that I like to use, and they work. Probates don't really work because nobody's ever there. Um,
Okay.
Eviction's the same thing. They don't live there. So we like to do the foreclosure list because they're living there. That's their property, and they're 100% going to get that sticker every time. Does it make
Okay.
sense?
100%. And does it like with $1,000 work for me to get 1,000 list to pay someone to do the driving for me?
Yeah. I mean, it's you always want to figure out how to do it yourself, and then you can bring other people in to help you out. So I've shared everybody else. The first 7 years in wholesaling, I did everything myself. I did it way too long, but honestly, it helped out. It helped out a lot because I'm able to teach you guys easily how to do all this stuff. And I was never uncomfortable doing it. I just ran out of time. So I probably should have let go about 3, 4 years before that. But I tell everybody you should master each one of your tasks, get deep experience in it, and then you can teach other people how to do it and you can share your mistakes with them. That way it's much more profitable when they do that. And I'm going through that. I go through this every day in our company. We're always training someone to do a particular task. And it's like I can wear every hat. I'm like, okay, I've done this. So, and then when I don't do something for a while, I have to think about it. I have to go and make sure we wrote down our standard operating procedures on like how to do cold calls, how to do SMS, and all that other stuff. It's no different with you. So if you're feeling like you got a lot of work to do, like it's right in the beginning because that's how it works. As far as the code violation, I promise you, your city or county has that list somewhere because somebody's out there writing fines and violations on homeowners all the time. So they have to organize that list somewhere. And considering it's paid for with tax-based used dollars, there's got to be a way they got to provide you that list. And you have to explain it to them just like that. Like, listen, I get it, but do you guys have a code violation department? And they go, yes. So you have active violations going on now, right? Okay. Well, how do you organize that list? Oh, I keep it right here on my computer. I go, how can I get that list? Oh, you can't get it. Isn't it public record? Isn't it public information? Don't city tax dollars pay for this department? Why would I not have access to that information? And just that's how I just kind of keep talking to them. I overcome resistance with massive persistence. And you got to do the same because we have the same issues in our counties too. We know how to talk to them after a while and just keep going. And by the way, it doesn't guarantee everyone's going to cooperate when you do these guys. Like some people just like they're difficult about it.
Yeah,
So
that's true. But
just
I'm
keep
doing this
going about it.
virtually.
What's that?
I'm doing this virtually. So how do I get someone to do the driving for me?
Well, that's up to you. So how far away are you? Are you out of the country, in the country?
Out of the country, I'm in South Africa.
Okay. Well, today there's so many powerful tools on the internet. You got to find someone in the market that you're currently working in and just try to partner up with them. You just got to find, and you're going to have to find someone that's a little bit new and is willing to take a shot, but you got to take care of them if it's going to work out. So ideally, usually I start trading like gas cards and some basics just to get people motivated. And I give them like a week or two to generate leads for me. And then basically, if you want to do someone paid driving for dollars, have them collect leads. Okay. And then you can decide how you're going to do it. So you can either pay per lead. Say, listen, every time you get me 100 leads, I'll get you $25 in a gift card to this or something like that. So, and then you can bonus them out if you close on it, but you can't promise it because it's technically illegal. So I always offer them like a marketing dollars. So every time I close a property, I'll send them $150 or a $200 bonus or something like that. But I never say it's part of the closing. But they're not easy to keep going. Usually you have to have a buddy or someone you know, and you got to put gas in their car, and you got to keep them motivated to keep filling up those lists. But on Driving for Dollars, one out of every just under 300 leads, we turn into a contract every time. So I know exactly what I need to get from each one of them. So I try to get them all to 300. Honestly, if we can't get a lead out of 300, they're probably driving in the wrong neighborhoods. So gas cards, any like Walmart gift cards, stuff like you could easily transact on. You just kind of make it as easy as you possibly can. And then basically, the simplest way is just have them put on a Google sheet and just organize it, address, and then you can sort the name out and stuff like that. And then you just got to get the phone number and call them up, and then just have them put a little note on there, what's wrong with the house.
All right, copy that.
I used to have like 362 people doing that for me at one point. It's not the easiest thing in the world, but it works really well. It does. So, dude, you're in South Africa. I got people complaining like doing from one state over. So just keep doing what you're doing, and this will work out for you. You just got to be consistently out there marketing, and you're doing it, and just keep at it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Man. Awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay, let me. From South Africa. That's killer stuff. Okay. Let's see. Ali, you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
How you doing, man?
Good, good. How are you?
Nobody wants to look at me on video today, man. It's like, woo. I even prime you guys up with the Marlin kid, and it's like, woo. As Shaquila's I'm gonna put her right up next to the little Marlins kid and see who's got the best dance. But I'm warming it up. So, what can I do for you?
Hey, so I need help running comps on this property I found on Zillow. It's kind of weird though, because on PropStream when I went on and the comparables it said like 184,000, but then when I look at the Zestimate it says like 80,000.
So do me a favor. You see where the private chat is?
Yeah.
Put that in there, and then you can tell me a little bit about the deal. I'll look at it. That way, I won't flash everybody your lead. So like 400 people don't call them all at once.
Yeah. Okay. I just sent it.
Yeah. Zach told me that because before I'd flash your guys' leads on there, and everybody started like screaming at me. So, okay. So tell me a little bit about what's going on with it, and let me see if I can help you out with it. I'll look it up while you're doing this, if that's okay.
Okay. So when I called them and when I asked them for the motivation for selling the property, she told me it's because like the owners passed away. So I guess it's a probate.
Yes.
But they haven't like. I asked them like, have you gone through like the probate process? And they're like, no, we haven't done anything.
Okay.
And
so how long did you talk to this lead?
on the phone?
Yeah.
I say like 12 minutes the first time, and then.
No, was it today, yesterday? Like how long ago?
Okay. I talked to them like 3 days ago, the first time I called, and then I called again like the next day, and then I think one more time. So 3 times I've talked to them.
Okay. Hold on, my computer's stuck. You guys are all gonna get bumped off here off of Ali's comp search here. Okay. So I'm trying to pull it up, but like dude, don't make me switch software. Okay, I got it. Okay. So let me just ask you some questions. So are you doing this virtually?
Yeah.
Okay. So what state do you reside in?
California.
Okay, cool. Okay. Let me see here. It's so funny. You go to other states because everything's like so different, like between basements and so it's it's still a 2-1, right?
Yeah.
I got the right one. Okay. Man.
The property is kind of weird because the lot is like huge.
Yeah, very strange. So I mean, it just looks like a regular size. I mean, it looks like an old house, 1800s. Yeah. Jeez.
It needs some work.
Do you have any pictures of the house?
Only the one. I asked the sellers for like a video and like a bunch of pictures, and they said they'll send them like on the weekend. But on Zillow, there's like 3 pictures.
Okay. Let me see if I can see. I'm looking here. I'm not used to like terribly old houses, but I got to tell you, I'm looking at that picture. It doesn't look that bad. So obviously it looks like it's got a regular pitched roof. Looks like it's got a really nice house across the street. And then there's a big vacant lot, like 2 vacant lots. So let me ask you, that town it's located in,
Mhm.
do you know what the population is? And if you
Uh,
don't, you can look it up real quick.
I do not.
Okay, hold on. We'll look it up. So the reason we're asking population
Oh.
is
It's like 2,000.
so the population there is, no, it's decent, 306,000.
Oh shit.
Yeah, 2,000, you're done, dude. So guys, the reason why I'm asking the population is because it really helps. The more population you have, the more buyers, especially cash buyers, you'll have active. So you got plenty of population there. It's a 2-1. It's like an older home. And I'm looking, the average age is quick details on here. So the owner on record there, is that the person that passed away? The PELC? I'm looking at the owner of record.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So the assessed value, the total assessed value for the property is $42K and change. So this one's kind of hard to value because it's such a big lot with such a small. So I'm looking at these other numbers next to it. So you see all these comps, they're so all over the board. I don't think it's a $230,000 house based on what I see.
Mhm.
But like a 3.2, everything's going to be 200 plus. So I know right off the bat, it's definitely below 200.
Okay.
The question is, and I saw one other one that sold. Let's see here. So estimated value and what they sell for are 2 different stories, but it looks like I got a 104, I got a 35.
Are you on PropStream?
Yeah, I'm just bouncing around. There's so many comps here, it's kind of ridiculous. So remember, guys, comps are just a guesstimate. So the other way you can also do it is just simply just going between Trulio. You can go through Zillow. They all, like, I'm not here to bust your bubble. They all kind of use the same valuation tools. The problem is it's such an old property. So Realtor.com, let's see what they have it at. Oh, I'm not buying that. They have it at 82,000, and then when I looked at Zillow, I want to say it was 120,000. So what does this tell me? The comps are literally all over the board. So you're going to have to get the best price possible.
I offered like 95 and they accepted it.
Yeah, I mean 95 might. Is there anything wrong on the interior?
It does need to be like updated, like the roof.
Okay. So
new paint.
Okay. Let me pull you back up here. So, Ali, let me ask you, how long you been wholesaling for?
Maybe like 4 months.
Okay, good. So I want you to understand, how did you come up with that $90,000 offer with them? Was it from them or you?
For me.
Okay. And how did you come up with that number?
I looked at the Zillow like Zestimate and the PropStream. I like kind of like calculated the rehab cost, and then that's how I came up with it.
Okay. So here's what I want you to do going through in the future. You see that scrolling on the bottom right there? It says freewholesaling.com.
Mhm.
How far have you gone through my course?
I finished it.
Okay. So there's a part in there that I really want you to understand. It's going to make this one technique, if you learn it, it's going to make you hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay. You have to go for the no on the offer. Now, if the seller will give you an offer, if you can get that information and you can snuff it out before, this process is much easier, because it's like playing poker and reading the other person's poker card. It doesn't always work that way. Okay. When you can't get a number and you got comps all over the board like this, you have to go for the throat for the offer on it. Okay. I also noticed they have it on market. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Plus the house, most likely, do you know if it's going to need a probate or if they actually opened up a probate?
All I know right now is they haven't gone through the process.
Okay. So they got a lot of things working against them. Okay. They can't sell this property traditionally. It's going to take them a while. So I would have fished around with it. When I see comps all over the board like this, I see a house that's 100 years older in kind of like a rural area. Dude, I'm shooting at the ankles.
What, like 30, 40?
It doesn't matter where you start. It matters where you end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here's the problem is if you go, listen, I don't like, throw me a number. I mean, because I would go like this. It looks like, what is that, 125-year-old house that you guys still got to clear the title up and it needs some work. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking maybe like 30, 40. Like, what are you thinking? And just shut up. And either going to chew you out, Ali, or she's going to be like, we can't take less than 65. Remember, the goal is just to get them to their bottom number as soon as you can. Okay. Because if you start at 90 and they go down to like 85, you're going to think you got a great deal. In reality, you just got screwed.
Oh, yeah.
So when you have something like this where you really have no bottom, you have to shoot for the ankles because you have no idea what the damn thing's going to sell for. And keep in mind, they're selling it on the open market. What were they asking for? You remember?
120.
Yeah. And they've had it on the market for 126 days. Nobody else thinks it's worth even near that. So you could put it under contract and go in and do an inspection and walk around and go, listen, I can't do this price. This thing's got a lot of issues. If they truly want to sell it, they'll negotiate it with you. I always say this little technique when I'm working on a deal like this. Where do I send the release of contract? And just shut up. I know it's aggressive, but it works. Because if they go, hey, send it to this email address,
cracking up,
you're kind of done. And the other one that goes, well, Ali, why do you want to get out of this contract? I don't understand. I was kind of depending on you. You can probably get whatever price you want on it. It's just the truth. So they put it out on the market. I'm here to tell you, like, the market is going which way, up or down? Which way do you think the market's moving right now?
Down.
Yeah, it's not going up. So at best, it's going flat or sideways. So they're not going to get any more money with it. So is the house vacant?
It is.
Yeah. So I'm going to be honest with you, I think you offered too much.
Yeah, I said 95 and they accepted immediately. So I'm like, damn.
Yeah, and that's the worst part of it. So to save yourself from that, and I want everybody to understand watching this stream is to save that. There's no worse feeling when you make an offer and you think you're lowballing and they stick their hand out and go, I'll take it. I got to tell you, man, it really, like, tell me it didn't sit well with you for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I had to fit after I
ended
the call, like, I sat like 10 minutes.
You're like, how am I getting screwed here? So if you want to go back in, you can put it under contract for that and tell them you got to walk all the way through. It's got to be perfect.
Yeah, I know there are like major like issues with the property. So when they send me like those pictures on the weekend, I was thinking of saying like, oh, I didn't realize there was this much damage and like try to get it down.
I tell you, dude, I guarantee they have a lot lower they can go on that. That thing's sitting out on public record. Like no one's buying it. Like you don't have any competition.
Okay.
So guys, so this one, I agree with y'all. You got challenges comping it. And when the comps get all over the board, you got all this stuff going against you. Just shoot to the ankles. Because if you buy it for 20 or 30, I promise you can solve that problem. You don't even have to worry about the comp. So many of you guys are trying to compete with the comps. Your job's not to compete with the comps, it's to give you guidance. Okay. Sometimes comps screw you up more than when you started at. So when I looked at yours, I go, this thing's like all over the board. Let's just get it as cheap as we can. The reality, guys, most of my houses, that's how I teach everybody on my acquisition side to deal with these properties. Because for the right price, I can sell it to anyone. Is now when I get 3 2s and they're all identical, and like this one's 200, this one's 220, this one's 210. I go, okay, we're 200 to 220. And this one's kind of nicer. It's probably should be right in the middle, about 215. Then I can offer a little bit more aggressive on them because to try to motivate them. On this property, there's only so much you can do because you got to sell it to someone else to make money. Okay. And so if there's 30 grand worth of repairs and you buy it at 90, there's zero room to make any profit. So I don't want you buying it at that number. Okay. So the question is how you unwind this. Yeah. Okay. So you haven't entered into a contract yet, right?
No, not yet.
Okay. So you can do one or two approaches. You can go deep with a contract with a huge inspection period, 30, 45 days. Mm-hmm. And tell them, I have concerns about the house.
Okay.
And just see what they say. Or you can go, listen, I'm just not comfortable with that price. I ran over my partner. It just, the number's not even close.
Okay.
And just say, listen, do you have any other offers? If they, by the way, when you guys, when you ask people this, they're usually lying to you. Oh yeah, I got 2 other offers. I'm like, no, you don't. That's why you're talking to me. The more they want to talk to you, it means they don't have any other offers. So you don't want to be the highest offer.
Okay.
So you have to make a decision. Like sometimes we make mistakes. So you can either go and rip the Band-Aid off and go, I offered you way too much. I don't know what I was thinking. You'll probably lose credibility and they probably won't deal with you again. But how do you get that 90 down to say 40 or 50? It's not that easy just to whack 40 or 50 grand off on an inspection, right?
Yeah.
So you got to make a decision which way you want to go. I've done deals like this because it's out on public market. You could just say, listen, I need to send you over. If you want, you can ghost them, which is not very professional, or you can enter a contract and go back 2 days later and go, where do I send the cancellation? They're like, what do you mean? I go, the house is terrible. Sorry. Well, I have to renegotiate the whole thing to make it work. But I don't want to go through all that paperwork and do all that stuff. Because it's public, you could bring in a friend or somebody else to try to negotiate this for you. Mm-hmm. And it might be easier to start with a new buyer. I'm just telling you, because it's on public record. No one's buying this house. So buyer beware. You don't want to be the guy who pays the highest for this house. So you just got to make some decisions. It's going to be hard to go from 90 to like 50 or 40. Mm-hmm. And that's probably not going to be the best strategy. So I just say, the question is, can you save face and get a $30,000 or $40,000 discount? You're going to have a valid reason to do that. And you're going to have to figure that one out.
Okay. All right.
So just don't pay too much. And guys, when the comps are all over the board like that, heed the warning. It means it's not the easiest property to comp. So if you're struggling with the comp, your buyers are going to struggle 10 times worse than you. Those are the buyers that spend like 2 or 3 hours working on the comp trying to make it work. It ain't going to work. So like, don't play in that game. So you got it. You're in the right area. You do also have to find out if they're going to open up a probate or they can bypass the probate process. It'll make a tremendous difference in there. And then remember, you can use the technique of, I could buy your house and probate and cut through the red tape and show you how to cash it out quickly. Is that something you're interested in meeting me for? You can do that. I teach exactly how to do that. So do not pay 90 for it. You're going to regret it. I'm just going to tell you.
All right. Okay. I had one more question.
Yes, go.
I spent like 5 hours like trying to find a title company in Nebraska, and each one kept saying, "Oh, you need an attorney to do the assignments on contracts for you. We can't do it." And when I called another one, a title insurance person told me like it's illegal to do wholesaling in Nebraska.
Oh, it is? Did they just rewrite a new law you're not aware of?
Yeah, they told me like this random code I can't remember.
Yeah. Tell them to get the statute and look it up. Like, I'm just here to tell you, the title companies are, so many of the employees are misinformed. They're just doing what their boss tells them to do. Now, I'm not going to get in here, like, I'm not thinking about Nebraska. Nebraska has some little specialty thing, but it's pretty minor. Like, So what they're trying to do with these laws is they're trying to discourage certain types of behavior on selling the contracts, and they're usually attacking on how you market them. And that's how most of these people are going after it. Okay. Outside of, I know Oklahoma came up with something. Nebraska has something. My son went into the deep dive on this one. Make sure you know exactly what is legal and what is not legal in your state. Don't take my information and just try to put it out there. Verify it. So if a title company tells you, they go, can you please just give me that statute so I can like research and verify this? If they can't give you the statute, they're probably lying to you, because that's the person that's underwriting your deal. And if they're telling you it's illegal, but they can't tell you why, it's just because their boss told them, like, we don't want to deal with assignments. So 98% of the United States, you can legally wholesale and do assignment agreements.
Mhm.
There's the little whack like statutes in there that they're trying to discourage stuff. But remember, we have the right to enter into a contract, and I'm not going to let anyone interfere with that. As long as I have the right intentions on what I'm doing, it's correct. So deep dive in your state of Nebraska and find out. Like, stop taking people's word for it, especially title companies, because if you don't know when you call them, they're just going to tell you what they think they know, and that's the biggest problem with it. So, and go back and look at the legalities of wholesaling Nebraska, and Zach did an entire one on Nebraska, and he'll walk you through it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Remember, always verify, guys, because it's always like, I heard on the internet, I heard you couldn't do this. I heard you. Like 9 times out of 10, it's just gossip, and gossip sells, and it's fear, and it's like, I saw some YouTuber post the other day, oh, there's restrictions coming out in North Carolina on wholesaling. There's not. Okay, they have these think tanks. They think of ideas to make sure that wholesalers can't really compete with realtors, and they're just trying to find little loopholes to make it tougher on us. Okay, so North Carolina is talking about you have to have a real estate license to enter an assignment of contract. You don't, because it's physically impossible for me to require me to do that. So they're just saying, if you market your contract, then you're subject to practicing real estate without a license, and that would be the violation. It's not a violation to assign the property. It's complete. So there's guys, I'm going to tell you, most of these laws are almost unenforceable. Like, there's no way one state can change how contractual law works from what our United States Constitution says. You know, that they're not supposed to interfere in your right to enter in a contract. If a seller wants to sell and a buyer wants to buy, that's their right. They're trying to attack us wholesalers, saying, well, you guys are just selling your equitable interest, and that's not really having ownership, and we're going to go after that. Well, prove to me otherwise. I have a valid contract. I have an EMD. I have a title company. I'm doing everything. How do you not know I'm not? So now they're trying to interpret all our intentions. It's physically impossible. The only way to protect yourself is tell everybody who deals with real estate they have to have a license or you can't play. Okay? Think about this. On a fishing license, unless you're under the age of 15 or over the age of 65, everybody has to have a license. That's the only, if you really want to attack wholesalers, you got to attack the entire industry. Because I promise you, every law you try to pass, I'm going to be 2 or 3 steps ahead of you every time. So do me a favor. Just deep dive your Nebraska. It's actually pretty simple. I'm not an attorney, and I don't want to give you bad information. And I want you to report back and tell me exactly what you found. And you'll find exactly what to do. And honestly, you might have talked to 10 lawyers. You might have talked to 10 title companies. But just don't accept people's... I hate when people just give you crappy information. So you got it. Just find out what's legal. But I'm just telling you, I know people who full-time do this business, and they could care less than the state of Nebraska.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else?
Do you guys do JV deals in Arizona?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100%. Arizona is kind of easy because it's got a big population. It's easy to figure the price. You just got to find a motivated seller. So I'll put
I have
in
a
the
seller
link
with like 3 properties they want to sell. Yeah.
Dude, you know exactly where I am. Just hit me up. If you guys don't know what it is, you can go to flipwithrick.com, but I'll put it there on the bottom. You just JV with me. We got a ton of deals going on. So we just did one in our backyard. I got like 3 other states. You guys just got to give us the day you get it under contract, and let us underwrite it so we can work with you to get it sold. If you give it to me at the very end, there's nothing I can do for you. So Arizona is easy. It's one of the bigger markets. So absolutely. Just make sure it's a good deal.
All right.
Okay, man. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let's see here. And of course, and who should I bring on next? Is Shaquila going to dance for us? We'll have fun with it. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see here. So I'll put her up to this test first. Ready?
Hey guys, I am down here with the internet sensation, Jonathan. This kid has been all over the internet since his dancing video here at Marlins
Oh my God.
Park went viral. The odd thing is, the video
Okay, I got to stop this. We have to stop this part. We have to stop. So let me switch it over and stop screening because I cannot operate stuff. What's up, Shaquila? You there?
Hey.
How you doing?
So,
Okay, I freaking love kids because they just, if people would take that attitude in life, like just, you remember when you were a kid, you just let it go. It's like,
yes.
and
Yes,
now
I
we became adults and now we're just like, man, this is what I signed up for, man. Cause I love having fun like that, man. I love kids because like everything's unlimitless. Like everything's like going to be amazing in life. And somehow we become adults and something happens right around like 18 to 21. I'm just here to tell you guys, I look at life the opposite. I never fit in school. I never understood the purpose of teaching all these subjects in school. And all I ever want to do is have fun and socialize. And I don't get me wrong, I probably did that too much. But I started figuring out life from 18 on. And I've been through a long journey. I've been through college, terrible. I've been through a corporate job for 12 years, terrible. And I just go like, I go, you know what? Jim Rohn says it best. Life is risky. Let me tell you how risky life is. None of us are getting out of it. Like we're all going to we're all exiting it out. Okay. I'm not talking religion here. So if you know, we're all coming in this world naked, afraid, and weak, and we're going to leave the same way. You might as well have fun while you do it. And that's why I like to do videos. People like, oh, Rickman, that dancing video you and Zach do in the beginning. It's just like, honestly, I'm just trying to jar you guys to find it. It's like, this is fun. You don't have to do it. You don't have to call anybody. You don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to chase that contract. It's completely up to you if you want to have fun doing this. And honestly, I freaking have a blast with what I do. I choose who I work with. And when people come difficult, I let them make the decision if they want to work with me. If not, I just move on. And I'm just trying to share with you guys, this business is simple. I am not a smart guy. I am actually probably the farthest. I am not smart. I just know how to run certain types of businesses. And I came from a school where the smartest people got the most rewards. And I'm here to tell you, give you hope as a wholesaler. It's actually the opposite. If you're too smart in wholesaling, you will overanalyze this thing to death and you won't make a dime.
Yep.
And if you'll just do basic functions and you like to talk to people, millions and millions of dollars. I am living proof on it. I could not, my SAT is such an embarrassing score to this date. I still can't share it publicly. It's that bad. I ever had the people go like, I didn't know you could get a number this low. I'm like, I did. I'm not a test guy. I hate tests. I hate being, see, to me, life is a test every day and I'm up for it. But if you want me to memorize a bunch of stuff and take a test, I don't do well with that stuff. So anyways, that's it with me. So what can I help you out with today, Shaquila?
Okay. How are you today? Just first
I'm
off.
fantastic. It's a 3-day weekend, but honestly, every weekend's a 7-day weekend to me. I don't care.
Yeah. So I have a deal. Well, let me stop. It's
Okay.
not a deal yet. I was driving past, somebody was driving with me and they were like, oh, you're doing wholesaling. Look at this building. It's for sale by owner. It's not on Zillow. It's not on anything. It's just for sale by owner, right?
Okay.
So spoke to the woman. I called it a year ago. She didn't answer. Finally, she answered. Her motivation is that she's 80 years old and that she's not sure that her son will be able to take it over because, she's getting in her later years. So now I asked her, and I feel like I didn't do my DD right because I did not ask her timeline or anything like that.
Okay.
And I just automatically set up well, I didn't really set it up. I was like, oh, well, can we set up a time to view it? And she was like, oh, okay, let me get back to you. I'm having the same problem Rayvon is having right now because I'm trying to get her to call me back, but I'm trying to call her back, and it's just crazy. But regardless, she told me that the rents it's a 4-unit property.
Okay.
And it is two of the apartments rent for $750, and then 2 rent for $650.
Okay.
So I didn't know. Shoot, I know my question. Give me 1 second. So I don't know what I'm supposed to. Like, I need help comping the property.
Okay. So let's do it. So you got the perfect day for this. So 2 of them rent for $650, and the other 2 are $750, right?
Yeah. She's saying she wants $400 for it, and they can actually go. The apartments can go for $1,000 each. Sorry.
Okay.
Cracking my body.
So she wants 400 grand for them.
Yeah.
Okay. And basically she's collecting $2,800 in rent, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, were you able to comp the property? Did you look at comparables?
So I did. I looked. I couldn't really find too much. I don't know if I wasn't good enough, but
so if you want to send it to me in that private chat, and I'll take a look at it with you.
Okay.
I promise you, it's just between you and me.
Okay. Crud.
So, what state is this in?
Maryland.
Okay. So remember, guys, when I go to another market, I have no idea if it's a deal because you've got to bring some of your expertise on the local market. All I can do is help you with the motivation part of this, the motivation of the seller, and then walk you through the mechanics on getting a good deal. But like verifying the value of the property, that's where you got to use some of your software tools. Remember, you can use Zillow, you can use Realtor, you can use Trulia. It's not hard. So, so if I looked at this in Florida, I would go, okay, we got to either increase the rents, or she's going to have to drop her price. So let me take a look here. Remove that one.
The kids are playing Roblox, so if you hear them screaming at the top of your
lungs, okay,
lungs.
man. That's what kids do. Okay. So okay. So you
and it's on a big piece. Like, the land is kind of bigger. She said something about the fire department too, so I wasn't sure. She said
you got a lot of properties in that area. I mean, a lot of properties, but
are those single families though?
20 I'm not used to these like older homes you guys have. So let me look at the details on this one, see if I can so I'm just trying to see where it says it's so it says number of residential units 3. You're saying there's 4?
Well, she said there was 4, so that's what I took. Where do you see that at?
So if you go in the PropStream without me sharing, if you hit details under property characteristics, it says 3. Okay. So what you want to do is try to go into the county records for this county and look it up, and you'll get much more specifics on it. Okay. She also has delinquent taxes for 2021, basically $1,300.
Well,
I did. This is all just tools like you use. Like, it's not, but now I don't know this market, but based on the rents, her number's way off.
Yeah, I figured that. that.
So let's do some simple mechanics here, okay? So if it's a 4-plex and you can verify it's a legitimate 4-plex, they have a lot of value, okay?
Yeah.
And buyers will pay for it. I'm questioning if it's a 4-plex because of the date it's built, and now it's coming up as 3. Yeah. So if it's 2,800, okay, and then we know the taxes is roughly $1,400, and then insurance is probably going to be another $2. for the year. So what I have to do is figure out what the NOI is. You know what that stands for?
Net operating income.
Correct. So I'm going to take the 2,800 and I'm going to multiply that by 10 months because I figured 2 months of downtime between occupancy.
Right.
And then if I take off $4,000 for, taxes and stuff, and that's conservative, the property net's $24,000. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to figure out a price for it without doing the comp, so a fourplex should comp out correctly according to the comps. There's not much exceeding like the low twos. This is why I know the number's way off. Okay. So 24,000. If I paid her $400,000, I would earn 6% on my money, which is pretty bad for that type of unit. So, so here's the problem: is the property only brings in $24,000 a year when net.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's before if you know anything's wrong with it.
Right.
So sometimes you have to just break down like common sense offering to people like this. Go, listen. Can you find any other way, any more money this property can make? Because it's only going to make $24,000. Okay.
Right.
So I do basic math. So a property like this should have, in my opinion, at least a 10% return. Okay.
Right.
So 10% of this would be $240,000. And that's just, you can do the basic snuff test on this. Like it just doesn't work. Like I'm going to lose my butt if I buy this thing. And so I would ask her, how did you come up with that 400,000? And just shut your mouth. See what she says.
Mm-hmm.
And then you already have comps on that street. You just got to find out if they're comparable to her property.
Right.
Meaning, are they just regular single family houses? Are they fourplexes? Listen, if it's a bona fide fourplex, there's usually a lot more on that street and you should be able to easily comp it out.
Okay.
But based on what you gave it to me, like she's pretty far off. So what did you say her motivating factor is?
She says she's getting older, so she's just, and she doesn't know if her son is going to be, she doesn't think her son is going to be taking over her property. She says she has other properties too.
Okay.
She also said, if I can remember, let me think. She said that she was telling me like, oh, other things could be built on the property. So she probably built something onto it, like another, like in the back. I don't know. I can't really see anything, but
so
and the rents can go for like 1,000. So
yeah, you have to price the property on what it is for now.
Okay.
Well, I gotta fix something. So don't worry about all that stuff because it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, I love when people go, I can put a shed on, or you can add on to this. Honestly, if it was that easy, they would have already done it. So always price for what the property is. I don't care about the future and the promise. Okay. Unless it's on the water, that's the only way you're going to build a marina on this property. So always price for what it is and remove the potential of the property to a point. Okay. You just want to buy an income producing property and sell it. You got one or two ways to sell it. You sell it on the comps. According to the comps, the stuff I see without digging into it, like 2.25, 240 is the highest I see of any of them on that street. Okay. The other way is you take the rent. So if the rents were like 500,000, it made 50,000, then I can maybe make sense of it. But based on these rents, the most I could ever pay you is like 2.25, 240.
Yeah.
And it would have to be ready to go. So, hey, Miss Seller, how did you come up with that price? And just shut your mouth, see what they say.
Yeah.
And by the way, just because they're old doesn't mean they're stupid. Okay. She is old. I don't really know if that's a motivating factor for her.
Yeah, but when they get old, it's coming down to the wire. Like, they're going to come into
I know,
their
but
life.
like it's a motivating person. I don't think would come out of the chute at that kind of price. That's a big number for that. Like, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah.
So, and when she throws a number like that, I'm like, why don't you just list it with a realtor? Like, I'm going to hit her with everything and go, hey, if you want to do this. And if she's so far off base on this one, and when you look up the comps, say, listen, let's talk about any of the other properties you have that like maybe that need some help or need some love.
Yeah.
Okay. So was that I love to buy properties that are vacant that aren't producing money because people are usually much more motivated to get rid of them.
Because she also was saying that it does rent fast. She's like, you can get tenants in it ASAP. So shouldn't I know when their lease is up? Because don't we have to evict them? Like, don't they
No,
have
so guys, here's how it works on any property. If somebody has a lease, if you buy the property, you have to honor the lease. Okay. So here's an example. I just bought a property, crazy as it sounds. It's got a 9-year lease in it, but they're commercial tenants and they're paying me a lot of money. And I can't change that lease unless they miss a payment or they fall behind in arrears. Okay. So most single family properties, the most they usually have it on is a 1-year lease. If you see anything more than 1 year, there should be a red flag because that can be problematic because you have to honor those terms. And if you have a very long, I've seen leases 3 and 5 years. I don't want to buy those properties because I can't get rid of that tenant.
Yeah.
And they're usually paying a very low rate and they manipulated the owner and giving them a long-term lease. And it's not advantageous to people like you and me. Now, once they go the 1 year, usually a property after that goes month to month.
Right.
Which means you can ask anyone to leave within 30 days and you can actually have them evicted for it. So always look at the lease when you buy these properties. Landlords get cute and try to help their tenants out and stick in 2 or 3 year leases. And they think they're selling it. I won't buy them with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not interested. Because I've gotten caught like really bad. So the lease, as long as it's signed by the tenant and the landlord, you just have to honor the terms on it. If you don't honor the terms, the tenant can actually take you to court and they can actually get damages if you try to violate it.
Okay. And is there
So you
any?
want to find out with that. But here's the problem is, I know she's getting old and getting tired, but like her price isn't tired. 400 is not a tired price.
I know you're right. That's what
It's
I
not. It's
said.
just like I go, listen. Price alone can't be the motivating factor. Honestly, you put this on the market, you can put it on the market for whatever you want. Like, but the market's really smart right now. They're not going to pay people like this. So I know if she puts it on the market, it's not even going to move.
Mhm.
And honestly, I love when people like this put their house on the market and they're older and tired like this. Let them go through that crap show for 3 to 6 months, and then I go, hey, you want to talk now? Let me tell you, time fixes a lot of things.
Yeah.
I had a property that I personally had an interest in, just because I wanted it. So sometimes you just, and we were starting in the 400s. Just an extra piece of property for me to carry. I wasn't even going to make money off of it. And we started on terms, and the guy wanted to do price. They tried every game in the book, and I just walked away because it just got. At the bottom line is right now, he put it on the market. So he initially started at 450 when the market was hot. We went through all this. So he went down to 425, 400, 389, 379. He just dropped to 359. And now he called me the other day. He goes, would you entertain any more offers? I'm like, no, I'll just wait another 3. At this rate, I'm going to buy it at like 250.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, honestly, sometimes you guys got to let people like, you're every kid like soiling a diaper. I'm like, you just sit there. I'm coming. Like, just
Yeah.
relax. Just chill. It's not going to get any dirtier. Like, deal with it. And sometimes when they get like this is part of your follow-up process. Because if you think you're cruel, wait till they take it to the market. The market is really mean to people.
Yeah.
They will tell you everything wrong with the house and why you're overpriced and why you're greedy. So this guy told me I was greedy. I was a snake. And I'm just like, no. You can't switch terms to the cash price and expect the same thing. So if you want cash, here's the cash price. If you want terms, here's the term price. Pick one or I'm getting out of your hair. Here we are almost 3-4 months later, and he's $75,000 lower than when he started with me. And he has realtors he has to pay.
Oh, that sucks.
Should have just taken the offer. So I'm just telling you, work with her, but she might wind up in your follow-up and just kind of keep it, just connecting with her. And I always say, you know what? Eloise, you deserve $400,000. I want you to get that. I will encourage them to list that property. I go, here, do me a favor. Don't list it more than 90 days now. That way, if it doesn't work out, you can always come back to me. At least we'll get some data. The reality is when they take it to market, they'll tell you what the property could potentially sell for, and it actually helps you out.
Yeah.
So she puts it on the market for like $395 in 3 months, and she doesn't get an offer. she is going to have a wide open conversation when she's done with you on that. We
Yeah.
haven't had this type of market in so long. I'm like actually getting excited about it because it's fun. But she's old. I get it. I don't know if that's quite the motivating factor. Her
Yeah.
son can't handle it. She's smart for recognizing that. But the 400, I mean, that's like crazy.
Yeah, she's just overshooting it. And she's also saying that what does she say? Shoot, every time I think about it, it just leaves me. I don't know why that happens.
So are you doing this virtually?
No, it's actually down the street. It's like probably like 5 minutes from me. She said she got another offer. There it is. There's the thought. She got another offer, but she was like, "Oh, well, it was too low, and I wanted it at this price." But I'm just
Yeah, I'm here to tell you she's going to need time.
yeah.
She's just going to need time. So all you do is you build an amazing relationship, have 5-minute conversations with her.
Mm-hmm.
And the really cool thing is rolling in this time of the year in the fall, you can do like little things, just like putting like a little decorative pumpkin from the dollar store on her doorstep during like the Halloween, just Thanksgiving, just say, hey, thankful for that I have the chance to talk to you. Little like tchotchke stuff goes a long way. Obviously, all the holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that most people, they crave recognition over money 9 times out of 10? So they prove this in the corporate world. People will quit because they didn't get recognition from their boss as opposed to getting a raise. Now, I'm the opposite. You give me a raise, I could care less what you call me. So
Okay.
you guys have to recognize with your sellers is they constantly crave like your attention and like, you know what? So like this, I say she's Eloise. Eloise, you know what? You deserve it. You've put in so much work. You should enjoy your life now. You should have zero struggles. Everything should bring a smile to your face. We just got to find something that works together for both of us. It's got to work for you and it's got to work for me.
Right.
And you got to show her the price you're giving me is only working for you. If you want the market to tell you, it will tell you as well. But either way, I like you. I want to connect with you. I don't think you should have any stress in life. And once she says, I don't want any stress tomorrow, she just got to realize the right price and move on with it. But by the way, when anyone ever tells you they have another offer, 9 times out of 10, they're lying to you.
Mm-hmm.
I do it too. Like it's
So,
just like, hey, I got another offer. Yeah, my offer is a cold iced tea next door that I'm going to drink as soon as I get off the phone with you. I didn't tell you what my offer was. And so many people are guilty. But the funny thing is the minute you hear an offer, what do? You're like, oh my God, I got to get an offer over right away. Here's what I say. Take it. Take it.
yeah.
I want you. Hey, Eloise, you deserve $400,000. I want to help you get it. What can we do to get you at that? You want me to call that guy? It's a great deal. And it's like, oh my God, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you helping me out? Guys, when they tell you have another offer, tell them to take it every time. I'm just telling you, 9 times out of 10, it's a takeaway and it's a bluff.
Yeah.
And on a percentage basis, you will win. And you really throw them way off base. They're like, why would you want me to do that?
Yeah.
And they're never there. So a lot of times it's a postcard or somebody mailed them a letter. That's not an offer. That's a solicitation. So,
yeah. What do I do? Okay, so say if she did accept the offer of like 200,000, right? And we got it into contract and everything. What would and we're doing like 10 cap, right? What would my wholesale fee be? Would I still calculate it the way that I calculated with
you first of all, you got to find out what that house is really worth.
right.
Okay. So start looking at your comps and start comparing apples to apples. She says it's a 4-plex. The property record says it's a 3-unit. And then you got to start looking at the comps next to it and see if they match up. Okay. I noticed the house is located in a very densely tight neighborhood.
Right.
So it shouldn't be hard to figure out if other houses are built like that. You can look at the age of the house and the square footage. That will usually point you in the right direction. By the way, this is 10 or 15 minutes. It's not 2 and 3 hours. You don't want to do this. Because honestly, I don't really think she's even that motivated. And that's where you're kind of stuck. So I wouldn't spend energy with it until she gets there. And guys, you can do this at the last minute. I once comped a property 4 years ahead of time. The motivation wasn't there. Guess what happens when I went to buy it after 4 years? When I went to do the comp, I was completely blown away. It was worth triple what it was. It doesn't matter. And at the time, the numbers didn't even work for me. But because I kept on it and the motivation just grew over time, they just decided one day, I can't deal with this anymore. and you're the only person that's like kind of dealt with us. So what can we do, Rick? I'm like, okay, well, let me look at everything again. Odds are if you have to wait for the property, you're going to have to comp it 3 or 4 more times. So stop comping it. Just find out what the dang thing's worth. Find out if they're like-minded. If they're fourplex, if you're comparing a fourplex to a fourplex, great. If you're comparing a threeplex to basically single-family house, the same square footage, those are a little bit different. Okay. Most investors value a fourplex from the rents on it. And then the other thing is she has another unit on that third one. You got to make sure it's legal, because if it's not legal, you're going to have the same challenges when you go to sell it. So ask her just like this. How did you come up with that 400,000? And just be quiet.
So
that's when you have your comps printed out and you're like, well, there's one 3 doors down. It sold for 220,000. This one sold for 190,000. Am I missing something, or can you help me out here? Do you know of a house that's under contract or just been sold? Because I might be able to give you more money, but like these numbers aren't adding up. And once she hears that 3 or 4 times, she's like, okay, well, then who treated me the nicest to get this done? Don't embarrass her. Remember, she's looking for convenience and she's looking for dignity. You can't insult her. Just go like,
no.
I always tell, I go, how'd you come up with that number? And I just shut up and I just smile with this goofy looking smile on my face, and I just see what they say. And they're going to say, my neighbor's a realtor and told me not to take anything less than 400,000 from you. I'm like, you know what? She's got a buyer. I'd go for it. And that's how I do all of them. Okay. You got it? You got games planned for the kids tonight?
Yeah, we're all going to get on some Roblox and play hide and seek and eat some spaghetti.
See, Zach used to love hide and seek. Oh my God. Game. I used to have this. Guys, you gotta have fun. You gotta call in Sunday because I'm doing Zach's show for like an hour and a half. But Zach used to be the kid, but I took him to. He's probably listening, so I tell him he's got to relax because he works so much. He's the type of kid that you took to the toy store. He just stare at like all the action figures. I mean, hours. Like, he's just like. I go, son, you got 5 minutes. Like, figure this out. He wanted to study. So it's funny because Zach came from a very analytical background. And I find it ironic that he's a full-fledged wholesaler now. Because wholesalers, they have to make quick decisions on the fly. And people that are very heavy analytical, they have a struggle being wholesaling. And I just kind of find it funny with like Zach doing that. See, I miss all that stuff, man. Your kids grow up so fast. So like enjoy it. I know it's a pain in the butt sometimes, but like I miss the kids running around with their heads cut off, screaming.
I'm like a big kid too. Their energy, you know how they say like you are who you surround yourself with. I'm around them all the time. So I'm like a big kid. So
take that same energy when you do with wholesaling. Just try to help her out. I don't think she's overly motivated, so don't spend a lot of time on it. And then that's somebody you just check with every 30 days after the fact. Hey, just checking up on you. And then you keep an eye on the property and then just go find another motivated seller. And if her motivation switches, you have a relationship with her and it should work out well. That's it. It just takes time, man. Not everybody's going to swing the bat when they come up to the batter's box. Your job is to give them the right environment so they feel comfortable like swinging and working with you on taking your offer. And sometimes when you give people time, because remember, most wholesalers run people over and they immediately discount someone that won't sell them a property that day. I don't do that. And I get a lot of extra deals because I'm patient. And although I do want that contract, we all want it. But think about how many times you've moved or sold a property or had to move. It's a pain in the butt. And everybody has to go through it. And then honestly, when you get them to sign the contract, you'll go through the next journey. Get somebody who lived in a house 30, 40 years. You almost need therapy to get them out of there. You guys realize that, right? You have no idea. They're like, the tears, the crying, they want you to do shots with them, like crazy stuff. I'm like, man, I don't drink, but like if a shot's going to get this deal done, I'll do it. And like, you kind of get to that point. Because if you ever moved, you know how challenging it is. It's not fun.
It sucks.
And so sometimes we have to push and coach them. And they're like, it's the hard. They said other than death, moving is the most stressful. Moving is, I think it's number 2. I think dentist is number 3, although I would move dentist up to number 2 if it was me, but that's just me. I do not like dentist. It's nothing. It's not like I don't like, I just don't like sticking tubes and crap in my mouth, especially needles. So, okay.
All right.
Shaquilla, let me know how it works out. I just know that she's motivated. I think the price is way off on it, and unless she changes, just go find another deal and then just stay in her limelight because that property ever moving for 400. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank
Okay. Go have fun.
you. We'll do.
See ya. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Roadrunner, you there? Yo. Going once, twice. I'll come back to you. Eric, you there?
Hey, Rick.
Hey, man. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. Good, man. What can I help
Turn
you
my
out with?
camera
Oh, I
on.
see your face. I love it.
Yeah. How are you?
Good, man. Good, man. What are you up to this Friday?
Nothing. I have to work. I'm still
Okay.
working on my W-2. I just have a couple questions. I'm kind of not new on but I started following you guys probably about 4 months ago,
Okay.
and I started over and I went over the course. I'm putting a few of that. I live actually in California, so as far as right now, I haven't been able to close my first deal.
Okay.
I had a line under. I had a property before under contract. I couldn't find a seller. It was a land deal,
Okay.
so I couldn't find buyer. I'm sorry. But for now, I'm just gonna follow on. I decided to go virtual because everything around me, it's like an $800-$600 price, like kind of medium price.
Got it.
So I just want to make sure that I'm following the right, I'm doing the right steps to be able to close that deal. I mean, I unfortunately I cannot do driving for dollars virtual,
Okay.
but I got some government list, like code violations. I got a few leads, but I only had like a $500 budget. So
Okay.
what will you recommend if I only had like a small budget, but you want to close your first deal? And with that amount, I have PropStream, which I've been having it for probably like 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
That's kind of like I was, because I work on, I have my 9 to 5, so it's sometimes hard to call in when I get home. It's already late East Coast time to do like virtual. So I was using texting instead, and I was doing text messaging. I was using ARIA reply. I got probably like 2 or 3 leads, but I don't. Am I doing everything right, or am I over spending money?
Okay. What type of work is it you do, if you don't mind me asking?
Working in retail.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what attracted you to wholesaling in the get-go?
I mean, first, just getting a better opportunity for my family.
Okay.
Spending first, spending more time with them,
Okay.
and 2, just creating a better life for them, and like, for myself.
Okay.
I think I deserve better. So
I agree 100% with you. So you always got to start with why you're doing something, because I'm here to tell you, this is not easy. I'm going to repeat this to everyone. I'm not selling you guys a course on how to make $1 million by doing nothing. Okay. If you want to register for that course, go find someone. I promise you someone will sell it to you, and they'll
yeah,
disappoint you even like worse. So knowing
yeah,
that it does take a special person to do wholesaling. It doesn't take a special skill set. It takes a special person, because you have to go against the grain of what society teaches. Get an education, get a good job, just follow the norm. Don't question anything, and you'll have a decent life. I subscribe to this, dude. It doesn't work. It doesn't even slightly work. And now with the times we are now with inflation and everything, it's reckless and it's dangerous. Okay. I grew up in a time where I could even still work an hourly job and afford an apartment. You can't do that anymore. It's like, you got to have everybody working and doing it. So to me, I didn't wake up till I was 33 when I did this. So how old are you, Eric?
I'm actually 43.
Okay. So you're still a young man, because you're much younger than I am. So you're almost 10 years behind me. So I don't care how old you are. You got plenty of wisdom, plenty of everything. first of all, you have to pick your market you're going to be in. Okay. I always try to
Yeah.
get people to do locally, but like sometimes if you're in LA, New York City, Miami, there's like, I'm not here to have you struggle, especially if you only have a $500 budget. Okay. So what methods of marketing do you feel you're strongest in?
I mean, for now, I've been doing texting, but I just think I'm kind of spending more money than I'm supposed to. So I'm okay by cold calling. I actually I just started probably last week. I set up the free dialer, the Zach talks about.
Yeah.
So I set it up with Google
Yeah.
Voice, and I think I got dial pads, like a kind of like a click to call thing.
Okay.
So I've been doing that. So I'm changing my numbers because I'm afraid kind of like the carriers are gonna flag my phone number.
Okay.
So that's what I've been doing, cold calling, and then the texting. Like I said, texting has been easier because I'll send the text messages, and when I'm at work, I'm kind of responding with my phone. So I have that little time to do that, and then maybe I follow up
Okay.
on my break, or my lunch, or the next day.
So here's what I want you to do is you're right on point. So the first thing is I would start with government lists because they're going to give you your absolute highest probability, in my opinion. Like end of story. So you're familiar with the government list. You go through in your market, get as many as you can. The idea is to skip trace them and cold call them. That is the fastest way to get a deal. And if you're on a limited budget and a limited time, in my opinion, it's kind of the only way because you don't have driving for dollars because you are virtual. I like the texting. The problem with the texting though is some people use it as a band-aid. It's much more scalable and you do have the luxury of flexing your time with it. The downside is at some point you have to convert them from text to phone. I've never ever, actually I did one deal via text and that was a fluke, but it was hundreds of thousands of text just to get that one. Okay. So understanding any type of text, you're going to have to convert it to a phone conversation anyways. That's why cold calling kind of streamlines it. Some people hate cold calling, but if you want the fastest way to connect with the seller without getting in your car, wasting all the gas, getting on a plane, driving in your car, a cold call is the fastest place because once you have them on the phone, you don't have to play the phone tag like you do on texting. So then they start texting you, and then you're trying to find out if they're serious. I got to tell you, when we did the text campaign, Zach used to drive me nuts. I go, just pick up the phone and call them. And we found out it was just easier to skip half the texting and just call the damn people because you waste so much time. And no one's going to sell you a house via text. The text is just to scale it and gauge people's response. You have to convert them. So in my opinion, cold calling is actually kind of easier. I'm just saying because by the time you text, you set up the software, you pay for it, you already skip trace the number. What if you just skip to trace the number and just call them? Like get it over with. That's how, whenever we need a deal real fast, that's how we did it. Now I have much longer forms, but I'm just trying to give you a quick snapshot of what needs to be done. And then you've got to go through a large volume and you just got to sort through the ones that don't have the motivation and narrow it down to the ones that have the motivation and just have conversations with those people. The more conversations you have, the higher your probability of doing it. You always have to focus on things that are actively moving you closer to a contract. Listen, I get it. You got a limited time schedule and I get it, but we all have 24 hours. You can't be calling people in the middle of the night. And you can't call them early in the morning. So you're going to have to adapt that part of it. I can't fix that. I would just move much more quickly with text. The slightest interest, I'd just be calling them, man. Just because I found like the text, there's like 15 or 20 back and forth. It just gets, I don't know. I'm a little bit older than you, but like I am not a texter. You text me once or twice. I'm like, pick up the phone and call me. Because when I have you on the phone, I can at least gauge your tone if you're being serious. I'm here to tell you, people screw with you on text. Like, people like to waste time, and I hate that part of it. So government list, cold calling, and just increase your volume to as many people as you can talk. And remember, you just go through the 4 qualifying questions. You understand what they are, right?
Yes.
MCTP, just go through it. And honestly, 95% of them, they don't want to talk to you. And if you know that going up front, then just prioritize your questions so you can get through it and just be polite and move on. And that's it. So if you're going to do it virtual, did you pick out your virtual market yet?
I did, yes.
Okay.
And now also, I had questions if I pick a good one or not. I mean, I saw cash sales and kind of like what Zach talks about it, like 200 under 250,000 population and all that. So
Uh-huh. So yeah, so
so
that remember when you decide to pick your market, hopefully you're using other people's intel that are active in that market. So because you don't waste money. Okay. So if I have a wholesaler that's having success and he has a cash buyers list, I'm on it and they keep popping up, then I'm just going to reverse engineer it and see what areas he's having success in. And then I'm going to go back and target it. Period. And like, don't overthink this. And then just go and then test it. Don't go all in the market. Test it a little bit. So if you're going to call 2,000 people, call 300 to see what happens. It's very interesting, Lo. Like I can go from one market to the next, and you can just feel the attitude change. It's like I don't know what they do up there, but like they're a really nice people. And let me tell you, in Florida, like there's some counties, man, people are brutal. Like it just to me, it's like one county over. It's that much of a difference. So like, yep, that's how it works. And so you'll find it out. And sometimes, a lot of people are like, well, what's the response rate on something like this? I'm like, listen, what's the attitude of these people? Do they want to sell houses or not? And a lot of times you'll find some markets moving a lot more fluid than others. The beauty of a virtual market is you can pick up and pivot. You're not married to make it work. Sometimes they just don't work. You don't have the right type of sellers. And once you understand that, so I always reverse engineer it and I test it. That way, if I pivot, it's not painful. A couple $100, move on to the next market. But if you find a couple deals and you did it in a small test batch, it's a really good sign and you should go all in on that market and give it the full 2 or 3 months to see what's going on with it. Because then you got to figure out what you can sell stuff for. And that's a whole nother obstacle because you got to get familiar with the pricing in that market. And the only thing that's going to get you familiar with that is time and dealing with a lot of sellers. Make sense?
okay. Yes,
So you
makes
just got to
sense.
tell I can't fix your schedule. You're going to just have to adapt and move to it. You have the same 24 hours, but I get it. You are a little bit limited on the cold calling because you can't do it late at night and you can't do it early in the morning. The rule of thumb is you should be cold calling, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Anything later than that, it gets a little risky.
Yeah.
So it's let me
Absolutely.
tell you, this business isn't
I'll
sexy,
definitely
guys.
try. I'm gonna do that. I'll keep you guys informed. I mean,
Yeah. Just have fun with it. It's just like honestly, it's not a huge brain powering thing. It's stressful because it hasn't worked yet, and that's what's causing you the anxiety. So we just got to go. The more people I get through, the sooner I am to getting a contract. The more people say no is closer to the yes. 95 to 97% are going to say no, and if you accept that up front in cold calling, it's so much easier. Like nobody's giving me a yes. I go that you're going to get so few yeses. If you're looking and depending on a yes, you just need a few of them to talk to them. That's it. And then once you have them, your job is to guide them through and go through and then just keep doing it over and over again. And once you get established in the market, then you can bring some other tools to the chest. But you're on a limited budget, a limited amount of time. You've got to really precision focus that arrow on it. And if you can do the cold calling, I would definitely do that.
Oh well, I will try my free time. I mean, whatever text messages leads that I already sent, I'm gonna use those for calling.
Okay.
Because I mean, there's landlines in there too. So
You got it.
absolutely. Thank
Okay,
you so
bud.
much. I do appreciate
Okay.
it.
I'll talk to you. Okay, I got room for one more. Darren, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Good, man. Let's go. What you got?
Hey, I have a problem with running comps on 2 properties that I have. One is a very potential buyer, and then the other one I just talked to today about it. But the one is a duplex, and the other one's on a lake house that I just don't know how to comp.
Well, pick which one you want to do and send it to me in the private.
Okay. Right there.
Okay. Well, I just got to keep it all super secret and bottled up, don't I? Let's see. I'm going to screw this up with someone. I'm never going to hear the end of it. Zach's like, whatever you do, don't put it out there. I'm like, well, I'm helping comping. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
So I had found this property originally on Zillow. They've had it
Okay.
on Zillow for 127 days. They want $199,900 for it.
Okay.
And I actually went today to look at the property, and I took some pictures of it. Some pictures are on Zillow right now, It used to be a cottage that he actually added onto. He added like a big deck to it, but he made it into like a kind of like a 2-1, but he's counting the upstairs loft as a bedroom, so it's really still like a 1-1 technically in my eyes, I think. But he's stuck on this price because it has lake. It's not a lakefront, but it does have lake access, and it has like an easement that is shared with a couple other lots around the neighborhood.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I didn't know how to comp. I had talked to 2 other cash buyers per se over Facebook and stuff, and one of them came and said that he would have to get the property at 60. The other dude said he would be in the range of 75.
And how much does the guy want for it?
He wants 199.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
so. What's his motivation for selling it?
Well, they just bought a house, I think last November, December, around there. This house has been sitting empty since January, but they bought another house across the lake, like on a whole different side of the lake and stuff, because his wife is like a 3rd generation on the lake, I guess.
Yeah.
And
These
he
lake
says that
people are
he,
serious.
huh?
Yeah. Lake people are serious, man.
Oh
They're
yeah,
like,
for sure, man. They don't play around about that stuff. They take pride in all that. But the way he was explaining is that he wanted to stay at the property and just fix it up, but then she wanted an actual lakefront property. So
yeah,
obviously, happy wife, happy life. So they went and got the lakefront, and yeah, he says that he doesn't have time. He comes over from time and time again to like clean it up a little bit, but I mean, even himself, like the pictures that I took, I mean, it needs like a full rehab almost, or even like just like knock the whole thing down and either build something else on it.
dude, you're answering your own questions here.
Yeah,
I don't think there's motivation there, and I get it. It's not selling. And these numbers are like all over I mean, it's only 924 square feet. So there's only so much you can do on a little property like this, because
the one thing that I like was looking at hardcore about is that like the house itself is 924, but the lot size was a lot bigger. It's like 16,000. So I just didn't know if that meant any value right there or not.
So I don't know these local markets, but like even I'm even looking, like, it just depends if it's the right lot.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem, your numbers are like all over the board.
Yeah.
And these are one of the things is before you go down this rat nest, if there's no motivation, it's kind of a waste of time. Like, it's not an easy one to comp. I agree. I'm giving it to you like straight up. But I'm here to tell you is I wouldn't go through all this work. Wait a minute. Let me get back up here. Why can't I slide this over? There we go. I would just get down to the motivation. I mean, they've had it on the market how many days?
127.
Dude, guys, all these people are coming home the roof soon. You know that, right? They're not going to sell these properties. They're looking for an idiot to buy it. Don't be that idiot. Wholesalers always find where the bottom is or close to it, but nobody else, they have no offers, no nothing. It's an oddball house. It's a 2-1, 924 square feet. I get it. It's on a premium lake property, but in my opinion, most people look at it like, let's just knock it down and put the house up of our dreams. What can I buy the lot for? And that's why people are telling you 40 to 60K.
Right. Okay.
Think about that. Like, do you really, it's like working on an old car, unless you have a physical connection to the car. Like when I was a kid in 1979, my neighbor had one of those beautiful Trans Ams, you know, with the bird on the hood and everything. And I was just like, I got to tell you, I thought it was the greatest thing I ever saw in my life. Like to this day, you show me a 1970s Trans Am, I'm just like, I think they're just cool because it's not that the car was like, it was just cool during the time. There was nothing like it. So like I would pay top dollar. It's like $75,000 to get that car restored in mint condition. And it'd take you a long time to do it. You'd have to find someone that wants this particular house to do it. Other than that, you just knock it down and just go to the dealership and get a new car. Like it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
So you can stay with the follow-up, but this follow-up, they're over a year from even like considering it, selling it. They're so far off. It drives me nuts, guys, but these are in every market. You sit there, keep paying on it, and let the bills keep coming in. No one in their right mind is going to pay them for that property for that price, unless somebody has a personal connection. And honestly, 40 to 60,000 to knock that house down, put another house is still a big expense for people. So we get into like when you can't comp a property, like take the clue. It's usually a problem. And now all properties have a range, but keep in mind, you can't test that range out on the higher side. I'm like, listen, what would you take for this property? Like, what do you mean? I'm like, dude, it's 924 square feet. It's almost, it's 80 years old. Like, there's not a lot of demand for these types of properties anymore. Like, what can we do with it? It's so small. You can't do a second floor on it. You can't do all this other stuff. It would be cheaper and more cost effective to start all over.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just got to tell them and hit them in their mouth and they get really upset with it. How long have they owned the house for?
20 years.
Yeah. There you go. So it doesn't cost them much to keep. The tax is like $700-800, but it's not producing any money and nobody in the family wants to stay there. So I don't think it's a good deal and I don't think it's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing that's going to change is time and circumstance, and then follow up with them like once every 3 months. I wouldn't even do every 30 days.
Okay.
And they probably initially go, well, we'll get 400 from it. Now they're down to 200. Dude, they're not even going to be in the ballpark till they get below like 100.
Yeah. And like when they originally posted it back in, what was it? I think April at 214.
There you go.
Yeah.
Guys, this is like watching. Did you ever watch, if you watch the old show of The Price is Right,
yeah.
they have this one where they guess the price and a yodeler goes up the hill. And if you guess too much, they fall off the end. This is it, dude. It's going to happen. Like these properties are not moving. They're going to give it away in the end. I just don't know how much for it and when. But like, you can't sit here and ride this thing all the way to the top. Just move on. Like, find something else. Like, it is what it is. These people are nuts. Like, we don't look for those types of properties when they have to sell. Like Shaquila was talking before. She goes, well, the lady's older. I'm like, I can tell you, man, I've had some old ladies like beat the crap out of me. Like, just because they're old doesn't mean they're stupid. So you have to find the motivation for people. I agree. The motivation should be there. The only thing that's going to fix it is time. And it's usually when somebody passes away in the family, they're like, okay, we got to move on. This is getting ridiculous. Like 2 years, you guys been trying to sell it in the hottest market. Are you kidding me? And just stay top of mind on them and move on. Honestly, guys, the minute you're struggling with comps, 9 times out of 10, I can just tell you they want too much for the property. So when somebody tells me I'm old and I'm tired, I'm going to get rid of the property and my son's an idiot, but I want 400 grand for it when its best comp is 200. Sorry. Like, I'm not going to be that guy. Can't do it. So,
so the next property I have, I talked to this dude maybe about like 2 hours ago, and he has a duplex that he right now is just using for storage. Like, no, there's no tenants in it. There's
my favorites.
Yeah. So he's not using it at all.
By the way, guys, this is real. People have houses and they just turn them into storage. I got 2 of them going on right now. I'm like, what do you mean just storage? They're like, yeah, we just use it for storage. I'm like, for like $200, you could put that whole thing in storage and you could rent the house for like $2,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's going on with this one?
So I found this one also on Zillow for for sale by owner. It's been on the market for 270 days.
Ooh.
He, on his thing, it says the duplex needs a total gut, can be grandfathered into 2 townhomes if full second story is added. When I was talking to this dude, he says that right now it's split directly down the middle, has an attic. He says that if you can get the permits to add a second story and stuff, he's talking a lot about like the potential of the property and what he would do. Yeah. But he like when I was asking him about like his tenants and stuff, he says no one's living in it. It's just a 1-1 on both sides right now with attic space up top that he says that he just bought. He has sitting for a while right now, and that if it doesn't sell, then he was just going to do it by himself. And I'm just like, and I'm like, well, 270 days, I think he would have made that decision.
Yeah. How much does he want for it?
On this Zillow ad, 165.
Yeah, but it needs a total gut though, right?
That's what he says. And like when I asked him about the pictures and stuff, he said that he can't really get updated pictures right now because of how much storage he's using. So I would have to like go down there and walk through the property. And where I'm at, it's like a 2-3 hour drive.
Yeah,
I mean, I could do it. I would take the time,
yeah.
but I mean,
So the only thing is, like, whenever you hear people talk about the potential of the property, you're being sold, like, every time. Like, it's never going to happen, because how long has he owned the property? It looks like he owned the property for like almost 9-10 years, right?
I think so. I haven't.
Yeah. So from what I saw. So let me get this straight. So you've had this potential for 10 years, but you never took advantage of it. Like, give me a break. It's either too expensive, you don't have the money, or you don't want to do it. And honestly, dude, I mean, it looks like he bought the property for like 10 grand. He probably bought it as a storage unit to begin with, and he's never put a dime into it since. I would find out when the last time he's rented that property. But guys, like, the common theme today is you can't make crazy people sell their houses. You just got to go find others that'll do it, and then just put these people up in your follow-ups and see if it ever comes to fruition. I don't even bother with like, everything should point to that property being motivated, right?
Right.
But I explained to him, I'm like, why don't you just, so how much stuff does he have in there? Did he tell you?
No, I didn't ask him that.
Go, listen, you can just put that stuff in storage. I'll help you out with it. And then you can just sell the house and get the cash for it. There's just much more affordable ways to store your crap. Right. So the problem is, when they say storage, they usually have every square inch of that house like storage, like bad.
Okay.
But
so when you guys run like your comps and stuff on PropStream, are you guys going off of like the estimated value, or are you guys actually going down to like the comparables and then like filtering all of that? And then if you're filtering, are you doing both the public record and MLS, or are you just doing MLS? Or
so listen, I look at solds as a whole. If you can get public data and your state shares in it, it's not a non-disclosure state, then utilize it, because you look at a mix of both of them. Okay. You're going to have highs and you're going to have lows. So you got to average them out. So if it's a single family property, always kind of do it on the comps. If it's a unique multifamily, then you can do it off the cash flow or do a combo of the both. But here's the key to comps is you can't manipulate them. You have to do exactly what they are. It's a range. If you can throw the high and the low out and match apples to apples, you'll get a decent comp. But it's always a range, 200 to 215. If the range is too high, the comp's like way out there wild. A lot of these properties, they have a story behind them, and you got to get down to the bottom line, because sometimes you look at the numbers, you just like shake your head. I'm telling you in the beginning, don't spend a lot of time on the numbers. Spend time on the person and see if they're going to have the motivation to sell the property, because you waste an enormous amount of your brain cells trying to put a deal together that's never, ever going to come to fruition. Okay. And so in the first 2 years, I had to learn to stop comping everything. I was always trying to be prepared, because that's what the workplace taught me. Wholesaling is the opposite. Once I know you want to sell, I will sit down and we'll figure out a win-win. And that's why I say to him, I go, we need a win-win. It's got to work for me and it's got to work for you. Don't you agree? And when they look at you like that, like, oh my God, you actually saying you need a deal. I need a fair deal. You need a fair deal. Like what you're offering here, I don't understand how this works. How did you come up with that number? And that's what I tell them. And I work. And like some people, you just can't talk off the ledge.
Right.
Comps are the comps. You cannot manipulate comps. You just pull them, you do the range, and that's it. And sometimes they don't add up, because real estate's weird. Like, and the older the home is, the more screwed up the comp's going to be. Okay. And if it's a brand new home, it's really screwed up, because you have no idea what someone will pay for this type of demand on a property. Or if you have something that's 100 years old and you get that whole thing going on, it's like, and you just got to go through like a basic test. That's why I tell you, when I was training you guys, have somebody put some eyes on the property. A lot of times it'll solve your problems. But so many times I've negotiated prices, I write offers, I go out, look at the property, and there's like $100,000 like of work to be done on the property. I just look at my head like, my God, I just wasted 2 hours. And I don't want you guys to do that. Okay. It's got to make sense. Tell that guy, I need a deal that works for you and me. Okay. The reality is, if he was going to do that work, he would have already done it. He's not going to do it. He doesn't, or like, he doesn't want to do it.
Right.
And just find out. But like, you don't want to buy it and get your butt kicked either. There's a reason the property's sitting there and it's not being rented, and it's only going to get worse. And you could tell them, listen, they keep raising these interest rates. It's going to get harder and harder. Are you interested in cut? I would cut a deal before you swing that hammer. Once you swing that hammer, you got to take it all the way to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
People are better off if they just sell their property as is or finish it 100%. The person that tries it in between, they get killed every time because they invest the time, the money into it, and then they wind up giving the property anyways with all that added extra expense.
Okay.
So,
I had one more question.
okay, last one because I got to wrap this up because I'm
Yeah,
way
yeah.
over on time.
Sorry about
Go
that.
ahead.
So I contacted one house. I contacted a guy about a house up here, and he actually was another wholesaler that he had 3 properties. 2 of them were on the same street. One of them was maybe 2 blocks over, and I just didn't know. Like he asked me if I was a wholesaler. He asked because he said he ran his own wholesaling business up here and stuff, and so I just didn't know like is that smart to try to do business with another wholesaler like that, or
Well, so back when I started, all the wholesalers worked together. It was a different world.
Right.
I gotta say it's kind of changed. It's just everyone's not as friendly anymore. So when I'm talking to sellers, I never talk about a wholesaler because they don't understand what it is. Okay. When I'm talking to another wholesaler, you have nothing. You might as well just be honest. Just tell them. Who cares? But the reality is, I would used to work with wholesalers that had a really good buyers list because they're like, I don't understand how you get these properties so cheap. I know what I'm looking for. I know the right list. I know how to talk to people. I don't have time for a cash buyers list. So my first year and a half, I relied on other wholesalers and they made a lot of money off me with it, but I was fine with it. I didn't have time. Honestly, it made me a really good wholesaler because all I did was concentrate on the sellers. Then when I had to learn the buyers, I had to get my balancing act together and it was challenging for me. So, but I gave away a lot of money, but people made a lot of money off me. Now I don't know. It's really hard to do business with other wholesalers. I'm just going to tell you how it is. Most people are looking to cut each other's throat. Everyone's kind of looking to run each other over. So just make sure if you're going to do business with a wholesaler, they bring a skill set opposite to what yours is, and they understand you're under a partnership. Okay. I have wholesalers to this day call me off that stupid piece of software that gets all the cash buyers' phone numbers, which is one of the worst ideas I've ever seen put out there. You guys don't use it because all we are is burning each other. There's a software out there that scrapes cash buyers list and gets investors to share it. The reality is you're giving it to that software company and they're just going to so I get hundreds of phone calls now because someone got a hold of my cell number. Anyways, where was I going with this? I got all over the board. I'm just saying if you're going to do a deal with a wholesaler, if you know them and you know their reputation, because a lot of them are really bad. I see complaints all the time on this. If you guys want to do business with someone that's on the flip with Rick or with my son or me, just make sure you vet them. Okay. And if I don't speak for any of these people, you got to be like your own person and stand up for yourself and go, listen, I get it. I got to vet people and I just don't want the horror stories. And that's what I get. The problem is if you get more than 2 wholesalers involved on a deal, other than a big commercial deal, it's usually a disaster. Everyone's fighting to get paid and nobody wants to get the property sold. So if you do it, make sure you know them, make sure you got a bit of a background on them, and then enter into a JV agreement. It's very simple. You can get them anywhere.
This guy, he owns these properties.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be like a JV deal. He actually owns these properties and he rents them out right now.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, listen, you can learn a lot from other people. Just understanding a lot of seasoned people will go to these RIA meetings, these real estate investors, and they poach on new people and they know it going into it and they make all sorts of promises and they don't come through on it. So no matter who you do business with, make sure you have clarity in where you're going with it. Mm-hmm. And if you're going, listen, I just want to learn more off you, let them know the relationship up front, because I've seen a lot of relationships where you go find deals for people and you bring them to them and they go like this, thank you, I'll buy you lunch. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I gave a wholesaler a $62,000 assignment fee off a deal I brought, and he paid me $500, and
that's crazy.
We do not speak to this day.
And
he is missing out. It was just, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And you were just getting ready to lose the entire deal because your seller was so upset with you. And this is what
shady.
I did. So, When you listen, you are correct on that software. It's just, I'm not going to say it. I don't promote softwares. I don't believe it. It's really bad. It doesn't do anything. It does not get you buyers. It's not going to help you flip your deals. And they ask for such an insane amount of money. You got to be a moron to do business with them. I'm sorry. So once they get the cash buyers, like if they get my information, my company's number, they put it in a database and they push it out to all the social media services. And then I have to change my phone number all the time. And for that reason, I will stand on a stick and make sure nobody uses that software.
I feel that.
They're just selling everybody out. And by the way, they're just going to sell it to another company and everyone makes money off of it except us little guys on the bottom where we're left whole in the bag. So if you guys use that software, as a wholesaler, you do not need it. It does. There's no way it can do what it says it can do. Sorry. Extremely expensive. It's like $50K plus. I don't know any software $50K can flip properties for you. And in the end, you still have to do the contracts, the paperwork. They're trying to sell you they're selling thousands. I'm just telling you, they have a very, very small user base. There's a reason they have to charge 50 grand for it. So don't use it. So,
well, thank you.
Okay, Darren, we'll talk, bud. Okay, guys, that's Friday night. Now, listen, I'm going to be on Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm filling in on the Rick Ginn YouTube channel. I don't know if it's on Flip with Rick or not, but I'll be on there, and we're gonna leave the topic wide open. So I'll come up with a topic. We'll have fun with it, but like maybe we just talk about Zach for like an hour and a half. I'm sure he'll love that. So if you guys want to know anything about him, but seriously, if you want to get on and do like one-on-ones, if I missed out on you, I apologize. I'll be on Sunday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Guys, check me out on my YouTube channel, rickginn.com. I have unique comments, unique content on there. Also on my son's channel, Zach Ginn. I'll be on there Sunday night, and we'll have a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what his channel is all about. But guys, check me out there. Go out and get the deals. Guys, remember, when doing your deals, remember the basic rules I've taught you today. Remember, you always have to seek motivation first. Don't waste your time comping properties you're not going to buy. And guys, go out there and get deals. Just put in the work, and I promise you will be rewarded.